There we go. Live.
There we go. Now, if this will just work, what the hell's going on? Everything's malfunctioning, folks. Hold on just a sec. I'm not
We
sure what
need
the hell is going on here.
we need that Elon tech support over here.
I think we need Elon tech support. Greetings, my friends, and welcome to Pop Culture Breakdown. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and we are joined tonight by a panel of pop culture pundits and a whole shitload of news, folks. Oh my God, we have got so much news out there. It is insane. So, but before we get into that, we've got KK rumored to be retiring from Lucasfilm. We have got Captain Kirk rumored to be returning. Shatner in talks with some entity to reprise the role of Captain Kirk one more time. We have James Bond sold out, tricked out, if you will, to Amazon. We have got a review of the Andor season 2 trailer that came out. We got some interesting mean things said about Kevin Feige by Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool. We've got a shit ton of stuff to report tonight. But before we do that, I want to go around and introduce everybody on the panel. Right now, first of all, we have here from his cell at the center of the earth, none other than Gary Ambrosia. Gary, how are you tonight?
Well, it's a little chilly down here in the center of the earth. It's what is it, about 191 Fahrenheit? So
it can get toasty.
Yeah,
it can get toasty.
Yeah, well, it's I'm getting used to it. So maybe if you could turn up the heat a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Turn up the heat. Very
Yes.
well. I will talk to tech support and see if we can get that done. Hail to you, Gary Ambrosia, and welcome
Hail.
to the show. Good to see you. And we have our friend Rob Wright of Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hail to the chat. Glad you guys are here. We've got a great show planned for you. And oh my goodness, Doomcock, your videos this week have been excellent. Folks, if you haven't had a chance after the show, go find his videos, particularly on KK and Kirk. Fantastic job, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's been a busy week for news here at the center of the earth, but we're trying our best to keep on top of it as best we can. And we are joined by Sean. Hail to you, Sean. He's got a couple of YouTube channels of his own. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm so excited for tonight. Like you said, there is so much news. There's so much to talk about, and I'm sure we're all going to have some cool opinions about it. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a really great week. And can't wait to dive into this.
Thank you, Sean.
Stuff.
It's been a damn busy week. I'll tell you that. Hasn't it, Mexican Iron Man?
Nah, nothing important happened anytime recently. Nah, I mean, nah, Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars. Yeah.
just a little bit of shit. Plus, it's piled on tax season for you, which is a busy time.
I don't know how I'm going to make it the next 6 to 9 weeks. I'm having a really rough start this year, but here we are. Let's go, baby.
All right, we're gonna go. We are here, and this is it. And we are joined also by Nick of Echo Base Network. We got a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk today. Nick, how are you?
Oh man, doing great. That news dropped at like 2 a.m. My time. I was on like 3 streams yesterday. Yeah, busy news week for sure. Can't wait to get into it. It's just gonna be a fun stream tonight.
Yeah, man, a lot of shit to talk about. And we are joined also by the man, the legend himself, Doug Nelson. Hail, Doug. How are you, sir, today?
Doing better. Managed to survive the flu.
Thank God, man. That has been a shitty time. I hear this has been a particularly nasty cold or flu going around this year.
Yeah. You don't want it.
You don't
Well,
want
if you missed out, count yourself fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I certainly will. And try not to infect us all. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Don't cough into the internet pipes,
Right.
for fuck's sake. Oh my God, that's the last thing we fucking need. Germs coming out of the USB port, which I hear can happen. And we've got, well, I hear things. I hear things. Of course, my tech support guy is a lizard man. So, what the fuck does he know? It's stupid. But hey, works cheap, man. Works cheap. Works for flies. What can I say? Of course, the flies are big. They're like football size down here at the center of the earth. Yeah, it's nasty. And speaking of not nasty, we have Heather L here.
Wow.
Heather, it's great to see you. How are you?
Very good. Great to see you too. And it's always a blast hanging out with you guys. Hail to the chat. It does make me a little bit nervous. I don't want to end up getting thrown into a cell like Gary's got. So I got to be careful. But yeah, happy to be here otherwise.
Well, just mind your P's and Q's and you'll
I'll
be
try.
just fine.
I'll try.
You'll be just fine. Don't
I'll
worry
try.
about it. Most people do not get thrown into the cell, but Gary's a very naughty fella. So what can I say? He got away once. But we've got some security precautions here to keep him in here. Well, my God, we've got a lot to get to, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and start the breakdown if I can get the damn thing to play. Because it's like a night for malfunctions. Let's see if this will work. All right. Hey, it worked, kids. That's good. Good. Well, we're hanging in there. So before we get into the nitty gritty KK stuff, okay, because I know that's what everybody's interested in. We may want to wait until Andy Masterson shows up, before, wait until he gets done with his little Kung Fu MILF class, God knows he likes that sort of thing. I wonder why. But let's go ahead and start out with the news that James Bond has been purchased by Amazon. Now, a lot of people were very upset when they heard this. I was upset, of course. And I delayed coming out with a video for a day or two after I heard this news because I was grappling with how I felt about it. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Broccoli family has basically controlled the James Bond license since Doctor Who. I think that was around 63 or something around those lines. And it's been shepherded the entire series by the Broccoli family, who resisted calls to, fuck around with Bond, to make him a, strong woman of color, to make him gay, to make him trans, all of these calls to action by, snowflakes and whatnot. They held the line, they really fought hard against the wave of woke. They stumbled at the very end in No Time to Die, but it could have been a lot worse than it was. And Amazon had basically purchased MGM for something around the lines of $8 billion, $8.5 billion, something along those lines, hoping to get their claws on James Bond. And it failed because, the Broccolis were blocking them. They were interfering. They were doing that troublesome damn thing that studios hate called quality control. Oh, God, they hate quality control, don't they? They hate adhering to canon and, protecting the value of the fucking IP. But, hey, what the hell? And so then Amazon basically had to fork over another $1 billion plus to the Broccoli family to get them finally to step out of the way. And unfortunately, that is what has happened. The Broccoli family has ceded control of the James Bond franchise to Amazon. Proud makers of Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings. And I think a lot of shows that basically, credit all of Sherlock Holmes' discoveries to his smarter sister, or a group of minorities that were, working for him under Dr. Watson or something. I think they've done both of those shows, actually. And so a lot of people felt that hope was lost. A lot of people were very upset that they're going to be like a Moneypenny series where it was Moneypenny all along saving Bond behind the scenes. We're going to have James Bond Jr. for the kids. We're going to have, Felix Leiter in his loafers series, you know.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna put the C in CIA. You know, it's just gonna be it's gonna Felix Leiter in his loafers. I want a bigger laugh on that because that's really funny.
It was meant to be. It's in the name.
It's like Ian Fleming was just like saying, I can't wait for my whole fucking franchise to be perverted down the line. You know, let's lay these seeds.
Well, that's one of Leiter's gadgets. His loafers can enable him to fly.
Or at least to strut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strut fabulously down the runway.
Q's going to invent a special plug. If you just insert this, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, the new Bond theme song will be that strut, pout, put it out. That'll be the opening Bond montage.
That's what you want as a woman.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it would be, you know, they're going to make him of color. They're going to make him, you know, all this. I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want now, and there's nothing stopping them. And I want to go around and get your feelings on this. But my take on it, the thing that allowed me to finally come to peace to this was the realization that personally for me, I was done with the James Bond franchise anyway, because they killed James Bond in the last movie, No Time to Die. And, you know, a lot of people were saying at the time, well, it was the end of Daniel Craig's run. So it doesn't matter that they killed him. It's like, I think you're getting this confused with Doctor Who. The James Bond does not regenerate like the fucking Doctor when you kill him. Okay. Well, James Bond, he's dead. You can't just then bring back another actor and say, okay, and do-overs. Fuck you. You know, it's the fucking Pottery Barn rule of franchises. You kill off the main character, it's dead. Period. That's it. But then I realized the genius of it. That concluded the run of James Bond under the Broccolis. That was from Dr. No to No Time to Die. That was the series. And now anything that Amazon does, Amazon bought a corpse. Amazon bought a corpsicle, a dead body, a dead franchise. They said, okay, now here, you can go ahead and play with it. Hire Alex Kurtzman. He likes to sodomize dead things, right? You know, franchises, I mean, Star Trek, he killed it and he keeps on humping on it. So it made me feel a lot better. It's like there's closure on James Bond. And now we don't have to credit Amazon with anything that they do. I mean, on the off fucking chance that they hire someone like Henry Cavill to play Bond and they reset it to the 60s and they do it brilliantly, well, God bless them. I'll watch it. Anything else, I will completely fucking ignore. It doesn't mean a thing. It's not in canon. It's not in the film series. It's just a bunch of bullshit. They paid $1 billion for a fucking corpse, and that makes me smile. So let's go around and get everyone else's reaction to this news. Feel free to disagree with me, but that's how I feel about it. And I think it's kind of funny that Amazon we got fucked. What do you say, Gary?
Well, there's no question that throughout the Bond movies, even if the character was played by different actors, that it was the same Bond, because we saw him get married with George Lazenby, and then we saw Roger Moore discuss his late wife. Mm-hmm. We also saw Sean Connery looking for Blofeld, avenging his dead wife. Yes. So, you know, yeah, the character, it like you said, it's not like just a reboot and a remake, or, you know, like it's the same guy, you know. I know there's a span of like 50 years, you know, and okay, it's impossible. I get it. But I fortunately did not see No Time to Die after you guys told me that that they killed him. So I was like, what's the fucking point of this? But what I find really funny about this is that it wasn't that long ago that the Broccolis were, you know, up in arms and they were defending Bond. They're like, no, you're not going to pull any bullshit with our character. You know, they were using like publicly decreed swear words to defend James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And well, they're like, let's see, this checkbook, $1 billion extra dollars. There you go. What do you have to say now? And they're like, yeah, we can work with this. We can do this. That sucks. But unfortunately, that's the end of the Broccoli family run with 007. So now we're gonna get the multiverse with all the other extra
Oh,
characters.
Jesus.
We're gonna
Yeah.
hear like the history of all the Bond villains and how they really weren't that evil. It was just like their mom or their dad that treated them badly, and this is why they were, they can be corrected, they can be fixed, and we get all this bullshit. The Moneypenny series. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was her that like freed him all these times and working behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
scenes, taking out, she's the one that cut the giant vent in the wall that James Bond escapes through in Dr. No, the giant.
Oh, yeah.
very
Oh, she's
conveniently-
watching all of his missions on her little desktop, and she's telling
Right.
him, okay, go right, go left, shoot this
Right.
guy. Don't do that. No, no, no. Ugh, what would you do without me?
Right,
And he's just like, thank you.
right.
Yeah.
She's got a shock cock ring on him that like zaps him when he's doing the wrong turn. It's like, no, James, bad.
Right.
Oh, shake,
God.
sorry. She shocks seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know what they're gonna do. Well, we know what they're gonna do. We know what Amazon Prime does with franchises, don't we, kids? Yes, we do. So
We sure should do, dude.
expect
It's,
it.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
good.
No,
Now,
it's not.
I was told. I was not told. I mean, I read an article behind the scenes that they were saying that Barbara Broccoli was just worn down. That she was worn down in the fight, and her co-producer Michael was retiring, leaving her alone to basically, keep fighting off these fucking idiots at Amazon. And she just decided she just didn't have it anymore, and acquaintances of Barbara Broccoli's were gobsmacked that she did it and knew that she was heartbroken to do it, but the writing was on the wall. I don't know. I know.
That's
I don't know.
ridiculous.
Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, so I've actually got the article right in front of me that you were quoting from it.
Oh,
and
good.
Yeah, basically, Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson inherited the Bond franchise in the mid 1990s. They received a piece of advice from their dying father, legendary producer Chubby Broccoli, that ended up guiding the creative decisions for decades. He said, "Don't let anybody else screw it up." He warned them, "You can screw it up if you want to, but don't let other people screw it up." And basically, Broccoli, she's 64 and was still willing to fight, but Wilson is 83 and edging into retirement. And then he basically said, "Hey, I'm out. This is going to be your battle." And she just kind of gave up, apparently, based upon what they're saying in the Hollywood Insider. But
Yeah.
to be honest, Daniel Craig, I think the Bond films have gone down. I didn't see the last one because I just thought it was so woke and I didn't like the idea of him dying. And I was just sick of the narrative story that they were going for. But I thought Casino Royale was strong. Quantum of Solace was one of the worst Bond movies of all time. Skyfall was okay, but the villain, with some of the things that they were trying to tab in there, was a little woke. Spectre was okay. It had some interesting stuff. And then you had No Time to Die, which, killed him off. Amazon is going to butcher this completely. They're going to do all kinds of stupid things to try and work the IP when the reality is all you need to do is make a good freaking movie every 3 to 4 years, and you can keep this franchise going with quality writers and a quality storyline and a quality actor playing James Bond the way he should be played. But that's not how Amazon does things. They're so woke. I don't even know if they're pulling back on their own wokeness and their DEI and any of their programming, because you see little bits of it in just about everything they do. So my only question is it going to be all over Amazon Prime, or are they actually going to make a movie? So,
Well, that's the question. Hollywood's very cynical about that particular point.
Yeah.
Sean, anything to add to this?
Yeah. Hopefully, my volume's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I've always seen James Bond the same way I kind of see Batman, where, if there's one Bruce Wayne, one Batman, and of course he started in the 30s and the 40s, and every now and then you got to bring him modern, but You don't change who he is. Same guy. You just modernize him a little bit. So James Bond should not change. That being said, I did see a list of some new movies that are going to kind of modernize some of the classics. We've got Doctor No Means No is coming. Thunderballs, License to Shill, Octo Bonus Hole, and Two Genders Are Not Enough.
Oh dear.
Can't wait for those to
Octobonus
come out.
hole. Oh geez.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think of Octobonus hole, dude?
Well, I'm not sure why how this deal came about, but $1 billion is enough for me to change my pronouns, and certainly I'd walk away from James Bond if I were in control of it. But I really think I'm going to take a totally different angle to this, which is that I don't know if Bond could actually work anymore today, because the classic Bond is a man of is a macho guy. He's a man who's worldly. I mean, where's this guy going to go exactly? I mean, in London, where's he going to travel to that this Bond is actually going to be able to be Bond anywhere in the modern era? I think this character can't work. The only way to make it work is to go backwards into the 60s, and who knows if they'll get that right. So I don't know. I think it's just going to be fodder for you to make videos, for us to get you that boat we keep talking about, because they're going to release. I don't believe Jennifer Sulky. I mean, there's two ways to look at this. Like, we could look at this like, Amazon wants to take care of Bond and do it right, which I don't believe, or Amazon doesn't. And I'm going to go with doesn't. So based upon what we've seen before, I fully expect that Doomcock's going to make a ton of videos. We're going to make a ton of, we're going to get some YouTube money, and we're going to be on a boat in the next 2 years. Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's but I'd rather just have good Bond,
I know, but I mean, they're just, look, and people talk about, oh, they took such good care. Give me the last title of the last movie was No Time to Die. Guess what they had time for at the end?
To die.
Yes.
They had plenty of time to die.
Plenty of time, no problem.
So I don't know, man. It's pretty disturbing. Nick, anything to add to this?
Well, my take on it is Amazon's really hit and miss. I mean, they have put out some good stuff. I really like Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan series. I've enjoyed Reacher season 2. The end, they kind of jumped the shark a little bit, but overall, I like the Reacher series. Terminal List, I thought was very well done. But then you have stuff like Lord of the Wangs that they put out there, which is just absolute trash. And they just are not listening to people and just keep going down the same road with that show. And it's just disaster after disaster. So if Amazon's smart, which I think they're kind of halfway smart, I think it would be real easy to do something that's not been done with James Bond. And if they would just adapt the books into movies, I think they could do well with James Bond. But if they try to go modern day, modern audience crap, and go this woke route and make James Bond, a gay black woman or something, then it's game over. So I don't know. I'm very much kind of 50-50 on them doing a good job with Bond. I'm not excited that they got just because of what they've done with Lord of the Rings. But I think there's maybe a small percentage of potential there for them to actually do something good with Bond. But it's just a wait and see thing. We'll start once they get a plan formulated and news starts coming out on what they're planning on doing. We'll know the truth then, and if it looks like it's going in the woke DEI direction, then they'll get blasted for it and it'll be an utter failure. But if I was them, like I said, just adapt the books. People love the books. It's not ever been done before. And I think that's a good start. And I also think that James Bond is very much a time period piece.
Very much.
They need to go back to Cold War era James Bond, not do modern day with all the technology and drones and all that sort of stuff. Like go back to the Cold War era.
Yeah.
Go back to the '60s, the '70s, and into the early '80s, and do James Bond during that time frame.
That's a good
I
idea.
agree entirely, and entirely. I mean, and it's like Casino Royale. The
Hmm.
Daniel Craig one, where they had that opening scene with his first kill, in black and white, in Russia.
Yeah,
I thought that kind of brutal, Bond is very much in keeping with the spirit of the books, which I've
yeah.
read, and I love them. So fantastic stuff. Doug Nelson, what say you, sir?
Well, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Maybe. With Amazon, they're the one left who could, if they want to burn it down, they can, and it won't really matter because I mean, look what they did. How much money they spent on Lord of the Rings, and then they did that, so on and so forth. We're in a new era, so that's the only real item of hope, and the other being they already have a relationship with Henry Cavill, so it's a no-brainer that you would cast him as Bond. But nobody wants to see him in some woke piece of crap. It's dead on arrival should you do that, and so you could lose all of that you could gain from casting him. And the only real route to go is to go back into the past and pursue that era, because really even the Britain of Bond doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, how do you even do this? It would still be this fantasy world that doesn't exist. So you might as well just go to the past from which he was born out of, which was the Cold War era, and Spectre and all that. And you could have a lot of fun with it. And that's the main thing, was Bond was always fun. But the rest of this, where now we got to recast him as a woman of color, morbidly obese, in a wheelchair. But the wheelchair would be designed by Q. And then, of course, you would discover what the Q stands for. And all of that good stuff, but also the approach of expanding Bond into the Bond universe. Because that worked so well for so many others. I mean, the heyday of Marvel has long since passed, and this template, I just, and I mean, and looking at Marvel, that's Marvel. It came out of the comics, and it was always like that. So it's a little different than trying to do this to a single character and then say, well, there's all these other characters and we can get their backstories and everything. No, it isn't there. And then you saturate the Bond brand. Even if you're initially successful, then it's just all this stuff and it gets tiring, and you would kill it that way.
Yeah.
So it's just, you do Bond. It survived all these decades as a film franchise. That's what it is. That's what you should do with it. So you've got it shot, but it's a long one because of your history. Now, that being said, Jeff Bezos bought Washington Post, and recently he's been reining them in. So maybe his attitude has changed, but I don't know.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Heather L., anything to add about James Bond? Your thoughts?
I can't believe you guys. I've been wanting this Moneypenny origin story for like as long as I can remember. You're just scratching it. I think you just don't understand her character, because not only did she not just only save James Bond, she actually established not only the 00 designation, but she established MI6. So you guys if you knew that, then you know how awesome she was. I think you'd embrace this whole Moneypenny story.
Wow, I thought Jennifer Lawrence did all that.
Well, she was there. She helped.
It's her.
Yeah, it's her.
Moneypenny is Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer, you just blew us. That's the ending. God, we had 10 seasons leading up to that reveal, and you just ruined it.
Well, good. Fuck them.
She was the original bestest ever.
She was. But, yeah, I mean, you guys are right. I think it needs to go back to the 60s era, because it's an espionage story. It's a spy story. And they just refuse to make China an enemy, or, they're wanting to market in all these countries all over the world. And so they never have a good villain, unless I guess you could invent a villain. But it just, to me, it doesn't work as well in the modern era. It was better in the 60s. And if you could do that, get Henry Cavill, then maybe. I just don't know. And you need Bond to be seducing women, because that's part of the spy game. That was part of one of the things that he used to get ahead. So yeah, I don't know if they have the willingness to do it right. But on another note, your video on this topic, Doomcock, was hilarious. It had some of your best one-liners in a long time. I love that the audience will be shaken, not stirred. That was just perfect. That was one of the best and most appropriate lines you've had. So
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked it.
Well,
Yeah, well,
Doomcock-
it took me a while because I was upset. I'll be honest,
Yeah.
but I had to find the humor in it, and I had to find Carrie Ambrosia on Her Majesty's secret cervix. So
No, but Doomcock, the other aspect about James Bond that I think people overlook is, you have all these wokies that want to change him, but his appeal was to men and women. Men wanted to be him, but Heather, I'm sure as a woman, you could tell us, what attracted you to the character of Bond.
Oh yeah, James Bond. I mean, obviously Sean Connery, Roger Moore is attractive too, but just he is a macho guy. He's suave, sophisticated, smart. I mean, yeah, definitely a man that would easily seduce women, and a character that you just love to watch because it's a fantasy. It's not meant to be real.
absolutely. So I think we need to move on to another story here. I just want to say hail to everybody out there. We've got about 1,500 people out there in the chat right now, so I don't want to bury the lead here. I'm a little bit torn because I'd like to talk about the Kathleen Kennedy situation, but our friend Andy Masterson is teaching MILFs Kung Fu right now. He's obsessed with doing that. He misses the first hour all the time. So I guess what we'll have to do is wait another 20, 25 minutes to talk about Kathleen Kennedy. So I hope you guys will hang in there. But let's talk about Captain James T. Kirk. This is not a rumor. This is not a rumor. This comes from William Shatner himself, ladies and gentlemen of the chat. William Shatner himself tweeted out that he has been approached to resurrect Captain Kirk. And he was very vague about the details. He said, he's talking to people about it. He's waiting to see what Paramount has to say about it. Now, Captain Kirk, Mike, I'm like you in that regard. Captain Kirk is my hero. Captain Kirk is my role model. He is the ideal masculine leader, charismatic, explorer, and a ladies' man to boot. I mean, he's everything that I wanted to be as a kid when I grew up, and I still aspire to be the man that James T. Kirk is. And that's one of the reasons why pop culture matters so damn much, folks. I mean, this is not just kid stories. This is not just entertainment. In a testosterone starved era where men and masculinity are devalued and young men no longer have great role models a lot of times, and they're told to shut up in school, and that girls are the bestest ever. They're shown women leading all the charges and beating up men that weigh 2 or 3 times what they do on screen. Captain Kirk is needed. Superman is needed. James Bond is needed. Role models, fictional role models, are what we can aspire to. It teaches kids values, not just the values of masculinity, but a lot of times the values of our society, of the United States, of Western civilization. These things are our modern myths, and that's why they're so crucial. That's why they matter so damn much, and that's why I fight so hard to try and preserve this stuff so that masculinity and excellent writing and excellent entertainment and our culture itself will not vanish from the face of the earth. It matters to me, damn it. So on one hand, when I have the opportunity to see William Shatner use modern technology to put Captain Kirk alive on the screen one more time, by God, It's an exciting moment. And yet then the Spock part of my brain takes over and it says, well, who is going to be doing this project? And that's the rub. That's where I get nervous. If it was the team of folks that did the, 765874 unification video that was so moving and just damn near broke the internet, with Kirk reunited with his dying brother Spock in Spock's last moments, depicting Captain Kirk at his many different ages, using digital technology and all sorts of cinemagic, frankly. It was really convincing. It was well done. It was done with taste and reverence for the character. And if that was going to be the approach, then that is great. But if it's Kurtzman, if it's any of the people responsible for Star Trek Discovery, or STD as I call it, Puke Hard, Suck New Worlds, any of those people getting a hold of Kirk and doing to James T. Kirk what they did to Picard, make him a joke, make him a shell of his former self, make him ruin his own legacy to the point where a lot of people, myself included, can no longer look at the next generation anymore the same way after being put through the new Trek grind. I would rather not see William Shatner take that project. And I've got some breaking news, folks. This is a rumor, but one of my long-term contacts, in my video, I said, and I haven't said anything about this yet, so this is breaking stuff. A longtime source, after they saw my video, they contacted me and said, well, it's not going to be Skydance because there's no way that they can legally do it. It's not going to be the Otoy guys. His best guess is it is Kurtzman Trek that's desperately grasping at straws, trying to save themselves and get relevant and get Kirk roped into a show. And that show allegedly, and this is a rumor, that show allegedly is a Star Trek sitcom. I'm not kidding. Now this was their best guess. This is not something that they know for a fact. This was speculation because they know the kinds of things that are kicking around in terms of projects and so on. I hope that they're wrong. I hope that it's not true. But by God, if it is true, it would be the worst fucking thing in the world. I mean, it just, it makes what Amazon's going to do to James Bond look like, a fucking picnic. So I just want to go around and get everyone's input, everyone's take on this situation. But I think we can all probably agree that if it were done with reverence by people not affiliated with New Trek or Secret Hideout, we're for it. We'd give it a chance. Otherwise, fuck no. And I'm going to go to Mexican Iron Man because I know he loves Captain Kirk as much as I do. Mike, what is your reaction to all this stuff?
Well, for sure, Captain Kirk raised me. I mean, I was a latchkey kid. Mom worked 2 jobs, never came home till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Left in the morning. So I would see Captain Kirk as a young man on the reruns, and KTVU San Francisco was a local channel right after school in the afternoons. And again, they would air them after the 10 o'clock news. And depending on what time Mom got home, I got to see my TV stepdad twice in a day, Monday through Friday. So, huge impact on my life. The closest thing I had to a father figure, for sure, be in the absence of having one, because I was raised by a single mom and I was adopted. Now, I think the character of James T. Kirk, if Shatner is going to be the caretaker of it, then I don't know if we've got much to worry about. I do think that Kurtzman is evil and diabolical and knows how to market at some level. And so to get Kirk to show, or to get Shatner to show up as Kirk, will certainly get a lot of eyes on episodes. I mean, am I going to not watch them? No, I've seen everything that this man has done, not just Star Trek, but TJ Hooker and everything before, after, and in between. I'm obviously a huge Shatner fan. So I am just hoping that whatever is done, that there's some caretaking for the character of Kirk and who he is, and that none of that is violated either for a check, or for marketing gratification by Kurtzman. It would be pretty heartbreaking, because I actually am okay with unification. Like, I feel that, look, there's going to come a day where we're going to wake up and William Shatner's not going to be with us, and I dread the Wednesday show after
Yeah,
that.
I know. I don't want.
Okay?
Yeah, I know.
You and I talked about this one time when he went up into space.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, and I'm just gonna, I don't even want to imagine like that day, because although William Shatner doesn't know me, I feel like if I didn't have a Captain Kirk, I don't know if I would be a problem solver. I don't know if I would have be courage. I mean, there's so many times as a young kid, or even in my young 20s, I would, you tap into that little youthful inspiration of like, what would my dad do to get out of this problem? And my dad was my TV dad.
Yeah.
Was Captain Kirk. And so that's one day I'm going to wake up and he's not going to be with us. And that Wednesday show is going to be a rough one. It's going to be really rough for me. And so I can only hope that the actor takes care of the character, and that character is held in beloved trust. But really, I think that I'm going to have a hard time reacting and figuring out what we're really going to get until I know what happens with this damn Paramount deal and who the hell is going to take over going forward. Now, I know Kurtzman's got his, grubby hands on some ownership, but until this dust settles on this Paramount transaction, which has been taking fucking forever, I don't know I don't know if we do know what we're going to get. I don't know, a comedy might be something that flies now in certain circles, but who knows what happens down the road? Maybe we get an entire reboot. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But I do know that, to me, I've always felt that Doctor Who, we've talked about this before, but Doctor Who and Star Trek can be saved. They're TV properties. Get the right showrunner, the right concept, we can get back on track pretty quickly. Star Wars, well, that's a discussion we'll have in the next hour. But I'm hoping for the best and praying to God that I don't end up waking up and realizing that I should have expected the worst.
I hear you, man. But I mean, honest to God, a sitcom. Now, I had heard about this before. I mean, this is a contact that I talk with regularly. And I already knew that was one of the, desperate things that, Secret Hideout is pitching or trying to push, along with Starfleet Academy, for God's sakes, again. I think the one thing they don't want to do is that Star Trek Legacy thing, which is fine with me because it was just Kurtzman Trek Light. But so it's not like this was just like a surprise, but I hadn't considered it when they said it. I just my head, I just went, oh, fuck, and it was after I did the video, so I didn't include that in the video. So I'm breaking the news right here. Doug, you love Captain Kirk as much as I do. What do you think about this?
Well, depending on which players are pushing for this, and I can understand it because like Mike says, Star Trek is one of the franchises that could be resurrected. And the basic way to do it is just scrap everything, start over with a brand new show with your new crew and new ship, and go forward from there. And that's all you got to do. Now, a shot in the arm for the franchise, a gimmick, which is what it would be, to do some special sort of handoff type thing with the Captain Kirk character. I can understand the motivation in that and doing it, although I would argue the unification video pretty much did that. And of course, the response to that thing is probably the most positive thing that Star Trek has had in years. It was pretty big to that, and it tells you there's life there, there's something there. It's just you keep crapping on that fan base and can't seem to figure out why you can't build anything on the brand, and that's the problem. If you pull some stupid stunt after something like that and screw this up, it's the same scenario as the Bond stuff. It's just you're dead on arrival. So why would anyone listen to Kurtzman anymore? I mean, whatever shenanigans you got to do to prevent this from happening with his involvement in it. I mean, Section 31 is his swan song. That should tell you everything you need to know. If you had any doubt, I can't imagine how you could have any doubt, but that sort of thing. But I could understand that, yes, the motivation was desperation. Well, there's desperation all over the place because, well, we've got this property, but oh man, someone stained it with all this poop. And but if we could just make it good, and all that stuff, and that's the position they're in. But a sitcom and all that stuff, you got to be respectful for it. And I can't imagine what the narrative would be for it to have some credibility within it. But I could understand it because of the position they're in, but God help you if you pull up a card on Captain Kirk.
Well, that's what I would expect, man. Now,
yeah,
Rob Wright posted this in the chat here. This is from trekmovie.com. It's a statement from Shatner. He says, I have been asked to come back as Kirk so many times. If Kirk is going to come back, it has to mean something. It has to be the show. But I was so impressed by this writer, so I said, let's talk after I'm done in Vancouver. So I'm awaiting a pitch to make it the show. It should come on Monday or Tuesday. But I mean, the thing is, Kurtzman told Picard what he wanted to hear, told Patrick Stewart what he wanted to hear. Oh, we'll make Picard an action hero. Well, we'll do this. And, we won't bring back the TNG crew until finally it had been failing so bad. He said, we could bring back the TNG crew, and
we have to now.
Exactly. But I mean, they will tell, I just hope that he's watchful. Gary, Ambrosia, anything to say about this?
So the unification short film was really great. And I love Captain Kirk. The one thing that we didn't get to see an example of in that short film is how the guy acts, how it looks when he's talking. Mm-hmm. And then there's another factor, which is it going to be Shatner? Because, Shatner's not just some nobody. He's William Shatner. There's no one else like him.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that have to hit right with this. And then what's the story going to be? Because, what happened to him in Generations, I don't like that at all. I never liked that movie. I don't know, guys. I mean, I guess I'll give it a chance, but honestly, I'd like to just see a new show with a new crew, like you're saying, Doug. Right. Let's go on a new adventure. Let's find some new charismatic people to be the new crew. Let's try to do something. Let's try to do a different story. I don't know. I mean, there's been so many versions of Star Trek. I don't know what hasn't been done yet, but I mean, I'd much rather go in that direction because when Star Trek came out in the 60s, the late 60s, there was no Captain Kirk to base that on. You know what I mean? So we should go in that direction now. Yeah, because we're not going to have him forever. Captain Kirk's not going to be there forever. Shatner's not going to be there forever. I've seen him at the cons. He's not walking, So, how much longer are we going to hold on to him? You know what I mean? It's like we're getting a photo with him when he's, like on his deathbed. I don't like that. I want to remember him for who he was. I want to remember Kirk for, being a hero. I want to see him walk off into the sunset. You know what I mean? I didn't want to see what happened to him in Generations. So I hope that they do something great with this if they're going to do it. And I hope to God that this asshole who's been in charge of Star Trek for God knows how long has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I won't watch it if it's Kurtzman Trek. Forget it.
That's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. And anyone involved in this shit, fuck no. Rob, anything to add to this?
Yeah. So Shatner has been a man's man. We talked about Bond. We talked about Kirk. They're very much the characters that were created in TV and movie and books and stories from the 60s, where you had an actual guy who was a macho guy who did the right things, but also could, fight with his fists, who would save the day and who would look good doing it and would inspire young men and would also get the girls, and the girls would look up to that type of man as well as the masculine figurehead for them as well. So he was a man's man. And if you are going to do something with Shatner, especially, and with this character, it better be done right, or Shatner should just walk away. And that means if Kurtzman has anything to do with it, he should say, fuck no. Pardon my language, but no way, man. This unification thing that came out a couple months ago was excellent. It was great. If you get a story with an actual good ending for Kirk, not like the crap we got in Generations. Heck, I'd even take his book, The Return, over that crap.
Yeah.
But Kirk has a special place in a lot of people's hearts from Star Trek, more so than a lot of other characters. I know a lot of people related to Spock. I know a lot of people like McCoy and Scotty and everything, but Kirk was always the main focus and always the main hero. He was the one that we all looked up to. Mexican Iron Man says it beautifully because he was pretty much raised by him. That was his father figure. That's so important. And Kirk has inspired generations of fans. Think about that. You're bringing back a character that has generations watching him. You better do it right. If you don't do it right, you're just going to lose everything forever. And really, Star Trek's pretty much done anyway, unless they reboot it with some better writers who are not woke.
Yeah, 100%. New Trek is a non-starter for me. Sean, anything to add?
Yeah. Trek is in every day of my life. I mean, I got this old model here, and the only thing that is giving me kind of hope is I'm relying on William Shatner's love for the character and his wit to make sure that this doesn't go sideways. That's I'm just praying he won't do something stupid. Like what Rob put that quote in there. It has to mean something for him to do it. So,
right.
Other than that, I'm fully with Doug. New ship, new crew, send them out, episodic TV, and it's easy to bring it back. We've already shown that Star Trek can be successful without number berries. We had TNG came out, it was a smash. DS9 came out, it was a smash. Voyager came out, but but still, we've proven you don't need to do the member berries. You don't need to bring the Skywalkers back. And I think that's one of the differences why Trek can probably be restored more easily, because you're not relying on a set of characters or a set of people. It's the stories.
Yeah.
And I'm just praying that Shatner just keeps his wits about him and does this right. And I hope he means what he said.
I hope so too. I hope he realizes what they're going to potentially do. Nick, any feelings about this? I don't know that you're that much of a Star Trek guy, are you?
A huge Star Trek guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love Star Trek. I mean, I watched TOS reruns with my dad growing up. My dad's a huge Star Trek fan. I mean, we went to the movies every time a new Star Trek movie came out. So yeah, I grew up on Star Trek. I mean, Star Wars is always my thing, but I mean, I love Star Trek too. I'm not sure why everyone's so worried. I thought Section 31 was great, and I think they do a good job. So
you sick fuck.
Get those showrunners involved. They will do wonders to Kirk's legacy. No, but in all seriousness, if they are going to bring him back, and I actually have two concerns here, but on a positive side of moving forward with something with Kirk, I think if you bring him back, you have to retcon in. And I think that if he comes back, it needs to be a movie, not a show or anything like that. 2.5 hour long movie, and that's it. But I think they need to basically do this in retcon Generations, and basically pick up, however many, 30, 40 years after Star Trek 6. He's retired, whatever. Come up with a story during that time frame to where there is a new crew out there and they happen to come upon Kirk, and he basically ends up saving the day, saving their ship, their crew, and then he goes off and rides off into the sunset after saving the day, or, the Federation one last time. I don't want to see him die like in Generations. And I think that would be, and then you could basically take that new crew from that movie and have that be a jump off point for a new Star Trek show, like where they continue on. And that's, during the TOS era, pre TNG, and do a show during that time frame. I think that could be successful if they did it right. Now, again, like you guys, if Kurtzman's involved, it's not going to be any of that. It's going to be complete trash. But the other thing that I'm worried about is if Kurtzman Trek is pitching this to him. I don't know if you guys saw the interview he did with Bill Maher. Like I don't know, I think it was 2 or 3, 4 months ago, something like that. Some of the stuff he was saying was kind of on the woke DEI side, and I was like, oh, Bill, come on now. What are you talking about? And I was face palming some of the stuff he was saying. So if they're pitching some of this stuff to him and he's liking it, he could ultimately end up destroying his own legacy.
Yeah.
So that's another side of it that has me worried a little bit on where he is in the whole culture of modern day, culture. So that's the other thing that has me worried. But I would love to see him return. I thought, like you guys, the unification thing was great. But I think it's going to take somebody that really has a love, like all of us do, for that character in that era of Star Trek to make it successful.
Well said, Nick. I appreciate that. Heather L., what say you? I know that you love Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, this though it seems like it's just trying to squeeze a little more juice out of a dead franchise.
Mhm.
It's I mean, I obviously trust Shatner's judgment to not initially get into something that looks terrible, but once you're under contract, you never know what happens. A little bit like Mark Hamill when he didn't like what was being done to Luke Skywalker. Sometimes you sign a contract, it changes, then you don't have any choice on what's happening. So, yeah, I mean, obviously huge concerns there. And I think the short fan film was perfect. It was great. That to me was kind of the perfect send off for him. I don't want to see the memory of the character sullied, and I know Shatner would not do it on purpose, but it's just it's too big of a risk. And these franchises, they have to stop relying on these old characters coming back. They just haven't created any new compelling characters on their own, and so they just have to keep bringing back these old characters time and time again. And now it's like, oh well, we're dead. We've destroyed all the TNG crew. Now what do we do? Oh, let's try to get Kirk back again and create some buzz, because everything they've done has failed. And I'd just rather not see it. I think there's too much risk in it. I mean, I love Kirk, but I hate to see people come back and just misused.
I agree. I agree. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. And again, I want to stress that the sitcom thing was the best guess of my contact based on the available information, but we don't know anything about it. It may be absolutely nothing to do with Kurtzman still. And I'm hopeful for that, especially since Shatner, they're interchangeable in my mind. Shatner said that the writer was impressive. Well, there's nothing impressive about any of the, secret hideout writers. I don't even think they are writers. I think they're like have a room of infinite numbers of chimpanzees, not with typewriters, but with their own poop, throwing it against the walls and, hoping it forms letters at some point. I don't know. But there we go, folks. We're going to talk about Star Wars this next hour. We're going to talk about our reaction to the Andor 2 trailer. I've got some thoughts on it. Well, a lot of thoughts on it. And we're going to talk about Kathleen Kennedy. Is she actually retiring? This is a hot topic, folks. Wanted to make sure to get Andy Masterson in here. We're going to probably do this in about 10 minutes. But let's go ahead and get to some of these super chats here while we're waiting for Andy to get done teaching MILFs Kung Fu. He's I wouldn't call it a cult at this point. I'd call it a business opportunity. All right. So let's go ahead and let's pull up some of these here. Super chats. All right. Let's see. Evan Peterson with a $2 super chat and a $20 super chat. Two of them. Thank you, Evan Peterson. Evan says, RIP to Michelle Trachtenberg. 39 is too young. Yeah, 39. That's a terrible thing. That was a horrible surprise today, folks. No question about it. And let's see. He also says, Roberta Flack, great voice. DC, if you can find something in her repertory that you could sing, or the Skull could read Friday without feeling weird, that would be great. If not, have Harvey do it, the sissy. Fuck you, Evan Peterson. Fuck you, asshole. Oh, geez. Let's not start dumping on Harvey right now. Thank you, Evan Peterson. And yes, R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg. What a shock that was. Jeez, as if we didn't already have enough news today. Trevin Lane with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Trevin. Says, Hail DC panel and chat. I'm hearing a lot of rumors in the video game space, including legal action against Ubisoft in Japan. They loathe how they treat Shinto temples in Donkey Creed DEI Samurai. Well, yeah. Listen, Ubisoft is in a world of shit of their own making. Now they're going to have two games that have bombed due to wokeness. Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're eating shit, and I love it, because the more shit that they eat, the more game companies will start to veer away from all this woke content that people are just fed up with. And the gamers are really, really, really energized against this shit. They smell it coming a mile away, and they reject it roundly, instantly, and violently. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Trevin Lane, for sharing that good news. Sigvaldison, the high priest of the cult of Harvey, with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Sigvaldison. Says, Overlord DVD, I listened to your Jesus Christ Superstar and KK videos. I heard the sorrow in your voice. You know what needs to be done. Push the button. Harvey Cthulhu will deal with the issues for everyone. Of course, if I free Harvey from his containment field, being a Cthulhu, he will destroy the entire universe, which seems like an extreme reaction. But yeah, we didn't even talk about this. But you know who's playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar coming up at the Hollywood Bowl? Cynthia Erivo. Yes. So Jesus will be portrayed as a bald woman of color in Jesus Christ Superstar in the Hollywood Bowl coming up. I did that as a member video because there was no way that I could do it as a regular video, because I was cursing my head off and very, very, very disgusted. So, and I don't even want to talk about it now, but it's out there for all of you channel members out there. Go and check out that video. It's an eye opener, folks. It is an eye opener. Angry Yeti TV with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Angry One. Says, thank you so much for doing Shane tonight. My papa would have loved to see it be reviewed today. Y'all are truly the best, and I'm proud to be a member here. Well, we are delighted to have you, my friend. Hail to you, Angry Yeti TV, and God bless your dad. I hope you will enjoy our discussion of Shane. Jack White with two $5 super chats in a row. Thank you very much, Jack. He says, Hail, my lord. I have a new series recommendation for you, Unnamed Memory, and game series recommendation, the YS series. And he says, the first 3 episodes of Reacher Season 3 are up on Prime. They're pretty good. And manga recommendation, Gantz. Thank you very, very much, Jack White. Hail to you. Unnamed Memory, the YS series, and Gantz. Thank you. And we're actually, Rob Wright has seen some of Reacher, and he'll probably talk about it a little bit, time permitting, in hour 2 here, coming up in just a few minutes. Green Hat with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Green Hat says, it would not surprise me if KK remained to spite Puck. It seems like something she would do. It does indeed, Green Hat. How well you know her. How well you've learned over the years. But like I said, we're going to talk about the KK situation in a few minutes. I was very surprised by what my Hollywood spies had to say about this situation, and we're definitely going to talk about it. There's a lot to break down there. Green Hat also adds, even if KK does leave, I bet it will be similar to how Iger left Disney. She's like an annoying toe fungus, Just when you think she's gone, she's back. The nail brittle and fractured and jagged. And, yeah. Well, I think it's about an apt analogy as you can get. Thank you very much, Green Hat. Warachi with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Warachi says, Gary's ration a New York cheese pizza from Luigi's, a 6-pack of Yingling, and a tray of brownies. Huzzah. Gary is going to be very grateful for this food. Hail to you, Warachi. Being a prisoner here in a cell at the center of the earth, Gary needs all the nutrition and high spirits that he can get. So thank you, Warachi, for making his day a little bit brighter. SFX F314 Sabertooth Raptor with a $5 super chat. Hail, SFX. He says, Mexican Iron Man helps Shatner return to Star Trek and saves it from oblivion, riding on a Spinosaurus with lasers in a Viking battle cry to make Andre proud. Wow. Mike, Jesus Christ. That's a plan, is it? Well.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. That sounds like, I'm more like I might ride in on a Chihuahua or a donkey, but okay.
Or a rabbit or a sleigh drawn by rabbit chickens, right?
There you go. I mean, that's kind of more my speed. So hashtag disappointmenttoandre.com. Hashtag.
Thank you very much for that. Dean H with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Dean H says, R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg. May she rest in peace. That is 39. That's terrible. That's absolutely fucking terrible. Thank you, Dean H. We really appreciate you, my friend. Ritosaurus with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Ritosaurus. Says, like a communist dictator, KK will only step down when she croaks. I even see her woke minions embalming, then worshiping her via Lenin and Kim Il-sung. Jeez. Man, that shrine will be a safe space. Oh, you can betcha. Thank you, Ritosaurus. Well, we'll see if that comes to pass. We'll see. For what it's worth, my Hollywood spies shared your skepticism on this story, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Aaron Pipes. My Hollywood spies.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'll have you not seen my video?
I've been working all day. I came from my last tax return straight here. Today's probably the only day I haven't seen your videos when you release them on the same day.
Okay, no worries, man. Well, then it'll be a surprise to you. Okay. Aaron Pipes with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Aaron. Says, so Mike is giddy, I know. He can now hire KK to head up his Tijuana Donkey Show studio. Finally.
Bro, who said that? Michael
Aaron Pipes.
Aaron did that? Not Aaron.
Yes. No. Aaron Pipes can hire KK to head up his Tijuana Donkey Show studio.
Wow.
Finally, KK will have a suitable platform for her talent. So I didn't even know you had one, Mike. That's
well, first of all, if I did do that, that would be the economic end of me because no one would be paying for that show. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's do a quick poll. On this panel, all those who would attend to see KK in the Donkey Show say aye. Yeah, see, money loser.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for that pilot episode, Aaron Pipes. We'll get back to you. Thank you, Aaron. The Guardian of Azarath with a £5 super chat. Thank you, Guardian of Azarath says, R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg, Gossip Girl and Buffy the Vampire Slayer actress dead at 39. Also, R.I.P. Millie the Husky of Milperthusky YouTube fame. Milperthusky YouTube fame. I don't know who Millie is, but I'm sorry that Millie's gone. And of course, Michelle. Golly, man, that's 39. Can you imagine? That's just what a terrible thing. Thank you very, very much for that. And not a banned account. This is odd. With a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, my friend. This is kind of political. I don't like to get political on the show. But what the heck? He says no one elected Elon Musk and Trump is not a king. Well, those are true things. But I don't know that I don't think Trump is necessarily trying to be a king, and but it's true. No one elected Elon Musk, although he has been, working with the administration, and that's their right. Not a banned account also is become a channel member today. Thank you very much. Not a banned account. We really appreciate your channel membership, my friend. And William Refner has been a channel member for 39 months now. Thank you, William, and says, all hail LDC. Hail to you, William Refner, and God bless you, my friend. Thank you for being here tonight. Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael Beacom, says, Guy Ritchie showed how to make Bond with Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yes, yes. Set in the 60s and showed why Henry Cavill is the only choice for Bond now. Folks, did you, on the panel, have you guys seen that Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie?
Yes, it's good.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's fucking good, isn't it?
Yes, I own it. It's a good movie.
I really, that made me think Cavill could definitely be Bond. He would be fucking great, you know?
Yes, he would.
And also the parts of it, they was in that movie, God, I can't remember the name of it now. The movie with the cat where he plays a super spy in this woman's fiction. What the fuck was Aver?
Oh, it was
Argyle.
Argyle, right.
Yeah.
He was very good in those segments. I mean, I wish it had just been mainly him, and it would have been fantastic. Darksaber Force with a $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, initially I liked Craig's Bond, but for the past few years, he always bitched about playing him. Slit my wrist. He should have never come back after Spectre. Yeah, he got tiresome. Quantum of Solace is unwatchable, frankly. But his original Casino Royale is a damn good Bond movie. Good Bond movie. I wish that they had stuck with that, because that level of quality, he would have been one of the greats. But it flagged. It definitely flagged. Trevin Lane with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Trevin Lane says, when Amazon hits, it is because they let a creative that understood the material cook. When it missed, they had uncreative activists and or executives cooking and setting the kitchen on fire. Absolutely true. And it's wokeness that's been killing them. We could have had a fucking awesome Conan the Barbarian series on Amazon, soaked with genuine testosterone, incredible magical opponents, sexy women. That thing would have been a massive fucking hit. And their woke developer over there passed on it. So that's kind of where their loyalties lie. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get now over to the situation with Kathleen Kennedy. So my DMs and emails were blowing up from the news that Kathleen Kennedy is said to be retiring. And this is, retirement, fired. These have been rumors that have been circulating for years now, and I was like, initially, well, so what? But I mean, it's never been like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all of the usual suspects in, the mainstream media, all falling in line behind this story, saying, and it started with Puck, a outlet called Puck that basically said, hey, she's out, she's going to quit by the end of the year, and there you go. And so what I did is people were asking me to look into it. So I went ahead and I contacted my Hollywood spies, because, when I saw that, I mean, Jesus, when, the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, they're all like saying this, I figured, well, the word has gone out, and Kathleen Kennedy is finally stepping down, which doesn't make any difference because the fucking franchise is in ruins, smoking fucking rubble, locusts in the air, the crops are raised, everything is just fucked up. The Visigoths have sacked the franchise, and what's left is fucking, I don't know, I think there's a broken lightsaber somewhere in the rubble, I don't know. But so who gives a shit? And yet people want closure. They just want her to be gone. It's like, after Munchkin, Munchkin land has been decimated. You know, at least the last few surviving Munchkins would like to see her, you know, fly off on her broomstick. You know what I mean? The Wicked Witch. But I just wanted some confirmation. So I went ahead and contacted my Hollywood spies, and I asked them, so what do you guys think? You know, expecting it to just be rubber stamped, expecting them to say, yeah, it's true. She's heading out. It was not that simple. So even before I wrote them, I woke up that morning and I got this message was waiting for me. The message said, so, okay, we're getting flooded by this. So just for fun, according to Puck News, KK is planning to step down. We stand by. We will believe it when we see it. That being said, our personal opinion is this. It fits a recurring theme that happened before each Star Wars show, i.e. George is coming back, or Disney is going back to what Star Wars was, you know, basically using the JJ Bad Robot playbook. We don't believe KK will go anywhere till the Rey movie is either in theaters or dead completely. Now, that's the thing I woke up to, and then I'm getting all these calls from everybody, and I'm seeing all these outlets discussing this and like it's a fait accompli that this is happening. So I contacted them and I said, guys, you know, shit, it looks like there's something here. Can you just take another look, you know, and dig a little deeper into this? They said they would. About 12 hours later yesterday, this is the response I got. We really don't believe KK will go anywhere. That being said, we made some calls and we got some very interesting viewpoints from sources. I'll break it down as we were told. We asked, why now? The Acolyte flopped months ago, so Skeleton Crew was the last straw? It doesn't make any sense. And two of our best sources had this to say, it's all about the timing. We believe this leak was dropped on purpose to help secretly promote Andor. None of the usual suspects were giving the Andor trailer any attention, and this made someone panic. If you don't think this leak was intended to push Andor into the light, just look at every single article. The Andor project was mentioned or embedded in every one of them. My spies replied, so you're saying Disney dropped a carrot and everyone bit? And the source replied, pretty much. However, we're not certain Disney was planning on this much success and attention. And my spies conclude, this is all we've been able to dig up, but it makes sense. So, on the one hand, everyone in fucking Hollywood is saying she's going. And I present this information for you guys to make up your own minds. You know, I expected them to just say, yeah, she's gone. But that's not what contacts that they're dealing with are saying. And I will throw this over to the panel, but there's one other thing to talk about. Cameron Pashaw over on his Patreon is in agreement with the mainstream media on this one, but he had an interesting alternate take. And this is what he said over on his Patreon. The deal for KK's departure was reached in October 2024, which supports Matt Bologna's reporting in Puck that she was ready to leave at the end of last year. Bob Iger apparently informed Kennedy back then that her contract would not be renewed. So it would be up to her to either retire voluntarily or the trades would be told that she had been removed. She chose the former. But our insider says that Bob Iger decided to hold back the announcement until now, as the final months of 2024 were filled with so much change and uncertainty due to the election that he feared the news would cause added volatility to Disney's stock. But now, with Trump firmly entrenched in office and Hollywood openly discarding DEI programs without fear of progressive backlash, Iger sensed that the cultural environment has reached a place where he can bring down the most powerful woman in Hollywood without facing retribution. And so he apparently instructed Jon Favreau to leak out Kennedy's retirement to the trades and thus make it a fait accompli. In essence, Iger and Favreau are giving Kathy a taste of her own medicine in using the news media to force events through the creation of narrative. So, all that said, there have been a few news items I've seen today where there's pushback on this whole idea of Kathleen Kennedy is not stepping down, is not retiring just yet. And that kind of, I don't know, reinforces that that argument that maybe this was leaked out in order to kind of push her out the door, and now she's starting to push back. That's all I know, folks. I do not have any other insider stuff to share with you guys. That's pretty much what I've been told. I'm interested to see what you guys think in the chat. Let's go over to let's hit the big Star Wars hitters here. Gary Ambrosia and then Nick. Gary, what do you think?
Well, I mean, is she going? Is she not? How long has this shit been going on?
I know.
Does it matter? No, because look what happened. When's the last time we saw a mainstream Star Wars movie in the theater? Was it 2019? Right, The Rise of Skywalker, and then now we get Mandalorian Grogu, and that's a big red flag right there. I mean, does it matter? Star Wars is obliterated.
Yeah.
I mean, the value of the franchise is gone. It's lost generations of fans. It never really had a chance with the younger generation. They destroyed the younger generation, like the kids of the older generation passing it along, because you piss them off. And it's so funny. If you guys don't realize yet just how politically tied our entertainment system is, this should this says it all right here, because it's all about administration and policy, who's in charge, who isn't, and that's what dictates who's running the show. On these fucking, like Star Wars, Star Trek, all this DEI shit just comes right in and infests every one of these IPs. What, now it's all going away? Look at the timing on that. This stuff is so political. We always say, yeah, we don't get political. I get it. Not one side, one side or another, but this stuff is political. It has to do with whoever's in power and who wants to change the culture all around. You start with IPs and pop culture. Then you can dig into, other fields like, taking people's taxes for, subsidies and shit like that. I mean, who knows how much money they've been funneling into these stupid DEI woke Star Wars projects from your tax dollars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that shit came out.
Ich bin ein Producer.
Yeah, I mean, that's how this crap gets produced. It doesn't get produced with ticket sales, right? Because nobody's buying them. But, it gets funded by, folks like you. So,
Thanks.
You're welcome.
The more I know, the more I want to jump,
Yeah, right. But, a day late and a dollar short. Is she going? Is she not? I don't know. But what a mess, you guys. What a mess.
I know it, man. It's totally fucked. Nick of Echo Base Network, which used to be a Star Wars channel, till he pulled back from that. But Nick, what do you think about all this shit? I was surprised by what my Hollywood spies had to say and what sources were saying to them. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you kind of got that response as well. But we also, I don't know if you guys saw the CNN article, but a source close to the matter, I guess know somebody at CNN, said that they're what they say, they said there's nothing there right now. Any announcement of Kennedy's retirement, if indeed there's anything to announce, will be made public when actual decisions are made, is the comment that CNN got. So, is it happening? Is it not happening? So yesterday when it dropped, I believe that this is probably legit and probably happening, because Bill Bellamy over at Puck also leaked her contract extension for the first time. When everybody thought she was getting fired, and then she got the 3-year contract extension. He was the one that leaked that information, and he was spot on there. So I was like, there's, given his track record, I think there might be something here. And then, of course, you had all the trades putting it out there, which they've not ever really done in the past at all. So I'm like, okay, now they're picking up the story, they're running with it, so this might be legitimate. But then after the CNN thing, and then after hearing what you're saying, now I'm kind of in the mode of, well, maybe it's really not. Maybe this was just thrown out there to kind of, pump up Andor season 2 a little bit, maybe get people excited that she's leaving, and maybe try to look at coming back to Star Wars. But if they did that, then they obviously know that the fan base doesn't like her.
Yes, I mean
She needs to be
that's exactly
gone.
it.
So it's like, look, if people don't like her and don't think that she should be in charge of Star Wars, why are you keeping this lady around?
That's the big question.
Yes.
That
should
just
be
shows
gone.
you how much power this woman has.
Yeah,
When
How
there's
many
jubilation
testicles
in
she
the
holds.
fucking streets at
Yeah.
the news that she may be leaving, and we're like, the Lollipop Guild, kicking around in curly-toed shoes in fucking Munchkin Land. Enjoy. There's something wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, she should have been gone a long time ago. But I'm in agreement with Gary on the fact that ultimately, at the end of the day, even if she's gone, it's not going to change anything. I mean, you can pull weeds all day long, but if the roots are still there, the weed's going to come right back. And until they freaking doge that whole entire Lucasfilm group over there, and the story group, and everybody in that company, nothing's going to change. They'll just replace her with some other moron that's not going to do anything. So whether she's there, whether she's not there, I don't see much changing for Disney Star Wars. I mean, I'll be happy to see her gone because I don't think she needs to be there, but it's not getting me back. I have zero hopium for Star Wars as long as Disney's in control and all those people are still there at Lucasfilm, that whole story group, everybody. If she did leave and somebody got put in, an outsider came in and said, I want to apologize for the way Star Wars has been handled. I'm going to fix this. We are starting from the ground up, and we are changing all kinds of things. I want to apologize to the fans, all that sort of stuff. That would go a long way. But I don't see that happening. So, if there is any truth to this, I think we'll probably find out at Celebration this year, because more than likely, I would imagine that it would be announced then, and it would kind of be like, say goodbye to Kathleen Kennedy, and it's over in Japan, so it's probably not going to be as hostile of an environment over there as if it was in the States here, where like everybody hates her.
Yeah, but didn't she announce new stuff in Britain, like when she was supposed to be gone?
Yeah. She was over in Europe. That's when she, brought Daisy out on the stage. I was like, new Ray movie. Hey, just what everybody was asking for. Like, come on, lady, get out of there, get out. But
Please
I don't
clap.
know. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens come Celebration in April. It's literally right around the corner. And if she is gone, I would imagine that it'll probably be October, end of fiscal year, that she'll be gone, because that's actually when her contract ended last year. Was in October of last year. There was no announcement of her staying on or leaving or anything. But I guess behind the scenes, she might have possibly either did an extension or just did a 1-year extension, or hey, we don't have anybody to take your spot yet, stay on for one more year. I don't know, who knows, but she was supposed to, her contract ended last year, so, and she's still there, so who knows what's going on.
Well, that's the point. I was stunned. I thought it would just be rubber stamped, and they'd say, yeah. But apparently there's a lot of intrigue around Kathleen Kennedy's situation at this juncture. Even now, even when the fucking franchise is in pieces, just lying on the fucking ground.
Yeah,
rubble.
It's sort of like, when she leaves, she's going to be walking out with her suitcases full of money. The building's on fire behind her. Everything's in flames. She's like, "Bye, guys. Thanks for the money. Have a nice day." It's just like, wow, you are leaving, and in the whole entire Lucasfilm franchise of everything, Indiana Jones, Willow, Star Wars,
God
everything.
almighty,
It is
everything.
all in shambles. It's all on fire, burning to the ground. And it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
It is. Let's go to Mexican Iron Man, and then we'll go to Doug. Mexican Iron Man, what do you think about this? I know you guys may have not as much time. Go ahead.
I tend to go with the simplest explanation, which is that if she is going to leave, it's because of the fabric of culture, is changing a bit. Whether you like it or don't like it, it is. And she's older. She's going to be 71 later this year.
She's 71 right now. Yeah, she'll be
she's been doing
72
this
this
for
year.
like what, 10
72
years?
in June.
10
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
10 years and change. So I think I'm going to go with the simplest explanation. I'm not going to go with all kinds of conspiracy, espionage stuff about this, that, and look. Here's the deal. Someone told this guy from Puck News that she was thinking about leaving. And this guy from Puck, who used to run the Hollywood Reporter, used to be the main editor there for Hollywood Scoops, put it out there. So that's why the trades picked it up. And then what happened this afternoon? CNN published that, no, she's not going yet, which probably means someone on Kathleen Kennedy's PR team said, who do we know somewhere that can push back on this? And since CNN and the mainstream media is regarded as being more important, no one's heard of the Hollywood Reporter. No one's heard of Deadline. No one's even heard of Puck. The only reason people know of this is because it's because of us. Now, sure, later in the day, late last night and early this morning, other people picked up on it, like Forbes and so forth, because once the trades pick it up, the trades picked it up because it was Puck. Once the trades pick it up, then that's the green light for CNN. I mean, not CNN, for Forbes and the others, right?
Right.
But then the pushback was CNN, meaning that Kennedy wants to go out. Look, I don't care when she leaves. Star Wars is dead. It's over. There's nothing to sell. Celebrating that she's leaving. This is probably an awful analogy, but I'm not going to be specific. But it's like we lost this one, guys. We fought and we lost. Star Wars is dead. Luke Skywalker disgraced. Grogu didn't make the right choice. Mandalorian turned out to be a joke. And the best thing we got was something that was not Star Wars and probably okay, mediocre science fiction, which was Andor. Everything else was crap. Our beloved Obi-Wan, joke. The gravitas of Darth Vader, cheapened. We never got the three main stars together in the movie. So, this is the lady that kicked our ass. So for me, celebrating whenever the fuck this bitch leaves, Doomcock, whenever the fuck she leaves, it's like I'm a conquered people. I'm a conquered Star Wars rebel here in the Sand War. And like, what am I going to celebrate? That the general that beat my ass is fine. Like, yay! Palpatine's going into retirement. Woo! I'm like, I didn't happen to be. I wasn't on the planet when it exploded. I happened to be on a shuttle on the way home. I watched my planet explode. And oh, wow. Palpatine and Darth is retiring. Oh, yay. Woo! Woo!
Yeah, right.
Look, when I left California, I said this earlier, or I said this last night on Midnight Edge After Dark. When I left California 4 years ago, about 80 pounds heavier. But when I got in that car, I carefully packed all 27 of my beloved lightsabers, some hand-built, all of which are rare and collectible, and loaded them in the truck, which meant, guess what? I had a lot less room for things like, I don't know, clothes and underwear. That's how my beloved lightsabers were to me as a Star Wars fan. Nick has been here now 3 weeks, Nick. This is the third week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I used to play with these every day, just on break in between tax returns as a stress reliever and as someone, because I've been doing combat for decades now. Nick, have you seen me at once grab a lightsaber at all?
No.
Or charge one?
Once. No.
No, this one's dead. This lightsaber has as much energy. Look, I'm hitting the button. Nothing's happening. That's how I feel. So I don't give a shit. I think she's just getting old. The fabric of things have changed. She didn't get the big win, and now she needs time to get her PR team so she can go out in pomp and circumstances. We're not going to get an apology. We're not going to get a public conviction, and we're not going to get her walking down the street, being all shamed and shit. Accountability is gone because accountability doesn't exist for these people in Hollywood. So no, not only am I not going to celebrate her departure, I'm not even going to care when or if it happens because mission accomplished. Ass kicked, IP battle lost. Now, I think overall we're winning the culture war, which is why Xanadu and Doomcock are so important in the fabric of the culture war. I think we've saved pop culture, and overall we're winning. This battle right here, lost, dead, ashes, gone. LA Fire Palisades. That's what when I went out to LA and I looked at the Palisades, that's how I felt. I'm sitting there in Hollywood and I'm in West LA and I'm looking at the destruction as I drove through it on my way to see our good friend Latino Slant, and I looked at the hills. It's an analogy for the IPs that we've lost. Yeah. Now, there's not the devastation. I don't mean to minimize the people who lost their homes and their, all that, but we, as a planet and as a globe, we lost a lot. When Star Wars decided that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be allowed to kill it off, we lost something that once brought us joy. And that joy was our home. It was our science fiction fantasy home in space where a little kid or a grown man could have something to cling on to. So no, I don't care when she leaves. No, I don't care why she's leaving. No, I don't care what the backstory politics. I just don't want to talk about her ever again because she broke my heart and destroyed what I once loved.
Well said, Mike. Well said. And that's why it took me a little while to bring out a video about her because I didn't want to think about it, and I don't give a shit anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's I'd like to see her leave in the same way that I'm sure Sharon Tate, as they walked out the door, said, "Well, thank God the Manson family's left." I mean, it's like, well, okay, yeah, well, better they're gone than not. But I mean, at this point, what do you think, Doug?
Well, I agree entirely with Mike. I mean, that's the thing. I don't care. I really don't. I gave up on Star Wars some time ago. This is a thing that anyone else in charge of it could have at least accidentally done a good Star Wars movie.
Right, just by accident.
And that's the only amazing thing is just how bad of a job Kathleen Kennedy did. And for a while, the corporate soap opera was the only real entertainment that Disney atoll provided. But at this point, that's tired too. You didn't do the most obvious things you needed to do, and this is I don't care. Go stay. Look, why go, KK? Stay. I mean, it will make no difference. It doesn't matter. And yeah, if her job was to destroy Star Wars, she did it. She won. And so there you go. That's your legacy. We all now see you were nothing but a lying fraud. All those supposed achievements from the 80s and all that, it was not you at all. And so here we've seen you on your own, and you have a pile of ash to your name. And that's it. So it really, she's leaving at the end of the year. Okay. It doesn't matter. So, this is a franchise that was killed almost immediately. And then you had one bright little moment that seemed to bring everyone back. In less than a month, you torched that. And then followed that with, Boba Fett and Kenobi. It was just like, I mean, I was laughing at the horror of it all.
Kenobi was one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen.
I just could not believe it. I mean, top to bottom, all around. And it's just like, oh my God. And it's like, there's no hope here. Not even, accidents. And like somehow Andor happened, but that was just because it's off by itself. And I don't even think of it as a Star Wars show. It's just, it's a show I kind of like, and that's it. That's all there is. And then it'll end with this next one. And then that's it.
Yeah.
All they ever did was torch everything down. So
that's it. That's all we could hope for.
It's an amazing thing, but it happened. As soon as they screwed up that Beatles reunion moment they had, How do you do that? Well, let them show you how. And they did. And then, hey, I know. Here's a good idea. Let's follow that up with a scene where Luke Skywalker contemplated being a child killer. That'll go over great.
Yeah.
So there you go, KK. You win.
Well done. Yeah, well done. She will leave, with a Viking hurrah. Andy Milferson. Anything to we held this discussion until you could come. Any comment that you want to have, and then we'll go up to Rob.
I can't believe I'm associated with you people. But she's not going to date you. I know you all watched Temple of Doom and you saw that one dancing girl in the back that tripped a few times and you all wanted to. She's not going to date you. She's happy with Frank. Frank, not so much. I mean, the genius of who would have thought that Luke Skywalker sitting there thinking gee, my father massacred billions of people, whole planets, men, women, children, and the sand people, and he's worthy of redemption. I sense the dark side might be in my nephew. Let me kill him in his sleep. And the genius that was the just because you people are upset that you didn't come up with the idea of hiding little Princess Leia inside of a large overcoat to make your
such a Scooby-Doo moment.
You weren't inclusive enough to see the genius of Reva, because everything is thanks to her. Because if she had killed Luke, then none of this would have happened. None of your precious original trilogy would have happened. So you have yet to thank her for the job that she did of saving what would become Star Wars. That Kathleen, probably killed. I wonder though, what if she was on a super secret mission from George Lucas? Kathy, I really want you to take over here, and I want you to run this into the ground, so I get $4 billion, and Disney gets nothing out of their franchise, and they can never do anything with it again. And if you do this for me, I'll give you the stuffing that you always wanted. Just saying, maybe it's a possibility, because I don't think that this stuff can be done unintentionally. Either she's really, really smart or really, really stupid. All right, so she's really, really stupid, but you took the one thing that was the golden goose and you managed to kill it. This thing was impervious to everything except for you. That is an accomplishment. That's really to be applauded. You had the one thing that all these years since 1977, everybody was gunning for that top spot of Star Wars, and nothing could dethrone it except for Kathy. Man, that is pretty impressive. What woman outside of Helen of Troy has unleashed that level of destruction? She's really, really to be applauded for this. She proved yogurt wrong. Look, that's not where your money's made, because she just proved that she could kill that so easily with just a few bad movies and some really, horrible decisions. And of course, she did this all in the name of feminism, where she wanted a strong, powerful woman, which she had and then fired. So I guess making coffee and driving Steven Spielberg away from a crime scene with a helicopter really does pay off.
Well, this is alternate universe stuff here. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy Milferson. Let's go now to Rob Wright, and then Sean, and then of course Heather L. Or you know what? Screw it. We'll go to Rob, then we'll go to Heather L, and then Sean can bring up the final word. Go ahead, Rob.
All right. So my initial reaction was this. In past years, maybe 5-6 years ago, we would have seen this as a good sign for Star Wars. We would have seen this as, hey, you finally got rid of her. Now we can bring somebody else in and move on. However, with all the crap they've produced in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. It's really, the important thing is not her leaving, it's who would they get to replace her. And even then, I don't think it's going to fix anything at Lucasfilm or help regain the generations of lost fans. So not only did she destroy Star Wars and destroy everything that you guys were mentioned, but think about this. Star Wars is a culture that we kind of grew up with. A lot of us did. It was a culture of imagination and creativity and characters that inspired you and wanted you to play with the toys, wanted you to imagine you were Luke Skywalker or Han Solo or Princess Leia or any number of Darth Vader, any number of characters in it. It inspired you to create your own stories with the toys. It inspired you to want to be Indiana Jones or any other characters. Heck, I have these posters, and unfortunately, Kathleen Kennedy's name is on productions of half of them. But the thing about it is that she destroyed all of that for her own little piece of social political bullshit. And it's sad. This is not something to even think about. I mean, this is a whole funeral for Star Wars. I mean, you could get rid of her, but what are you going to do? How are you going to bring it back? I mean, we're going to talk about Andor, and we'll get to that, but we've got this Mandalorian Grogu movie, and we've already commented a little bit about it. They're rehashing a plot from the Clone Wars. Heck, all of us could come up with probably a better plot for it. I'll tell you what. Here's a plot: Luke Skywalker and Han Solo hire Mando to help them find who kidnapped Princess Leia. Huh? Gee, real original. Easy done. Maybe get some fans back. But no, Star Wars can't do that because they have to do something else. They can't tie our original characters back and give them a proper send-off. They have to go and kill Han Solo with a stupid lightsaber like a fool, make him look like a deadbeat dad. They have to do Leia Mary Poppins and they kill her off. And then Luke Skywalker throws away his lightsaber, making me want to leave the movie right after he does that. It's just such garbage, man. You've taken, stuff that we've loved. I mean, we grew up with the movies, and then we had, the EU before Lucas came out the prequels, and that held our imagination. That still inspired us. That caused us to think, wow, what great stories can we still tell? What great stories can we still think about? Wow, look at this video game that came out. This is kind of cool in the 90s and stuff. And then, sure, the prequels weren't perfect, but the last half of Revenge of the Sith was pretty badass. And some of the parts of the prequels were pretty good. I know they weren't as great as the original trilogy. They never will be, but man, at least we had something. At least it was something sacred, something good, something that we could relate to, something that we could pass on. This crap won't pass on. Nobody's watching it. This younger generation doesn't give a shit about Star Wars. Our generation's the only ones holding together, and we don't care anymore. That's the problem. Getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy is not going to do anything. You needed to do that 10 years ago.
Too late now. Too little, too late, man.
Exactly.
It's the mystery machine is not required on this crime scene. There's no fucking mystery. I'll tell you who did it. It's KK. Heather L., what do you think about all this?
I really like one of the theories that you talked about, that they're just putting out these stories and press releases, and then they embed their trailers in the stories. It's like basically Disney's idea of rickrolling. They rickrolled all the fans, right? Like, here's the only exciting thing we have to announce. Oh, look, KK is retiring. All the fans get excited because no one can get excited about their shows. They click on the link. Oh, it's a trailer of Andor. Look at another one of our shows. So it's Andor rolling instead of rickrolling. They just, tricked all the fans in a bait and switch. So yeah, I thought that was hilarious. But no, I agree. Star Wars is completely dead. It doesn't matter if she goes, but God, I want her to just go so bad. I'm so freaking sick of seeing her dumbass come out there at Star Wars Celebration, these movies announcements, just all her lies and bullshit, and like just freaking go away already. I'm so sick of her. Yeah, it's too late to save Star Wars, but yeah, I'm so tired of freaking seeing her. just
So
can't stand her anymore.
Heather, what you're saying is it was a master bait and switch.
Well, I hope you're not masturbating to that, Andy. God, please. I thought maybe you were happy with your MILFs, but maybe they're super ugly. If that's
You haven't
you
you
know.
haven't seen Kathleen Kennedy in that slave Leia bikini.
Oh,
Well,
God.
no one has outside of Doug Nelson's. I'm sure he's put her in that at one point or another in a cartoon or something. Satirically.
Somebody
Oh
out
my
there is
God.
literally going to go use AI and make that image now. Somebody in
Oh,
chat is
no.
gonna
There
do
you
it.
go. It's done.
No,
Thanks,
no,
Andy.
no.
Don't do that.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Let it
thanks a
go.
lot,
Thanks a
asshole.
lot, Andy.
Giving people
Hey.
ideas.
Thanks a lot,
Oh,
Sean.
I'm sad that came to your mind with
Yeah,
KK.
yeah.
Really.
Thanks a lot, Sean. What do you got to say here?
Well, just to back up what everyone's saying, I mean, Mike with that epic rant and Andy with that great set that had me laughing after I was pissed off, because Mike got me riled up. But I'm looking in the chat here and everyone is echoing everything that we're saying. We're so apathetic now. It just doesn't fucking matter. We don't care. And I know that there's probably people at Disney that are saying, hey, let's put out the news that she's retiring. That'll get them happy. No, in fact, it's having the opposite effect. Where it's just reminding us of what they've done. I would rather her just one day walk out the building and like, oh, she's gone. This is nothing. It's not going to mean anything. Disney is so rotten to the core that it needs to change from the top down. Replace something in the middle with who? And the rumors are that Filoni's going to take over. Okay, great. You're going to replace rot with suck. And
Well, don't forget, Filoni was allegedly involved in rewriting the Acolyte. So, he fixed it. He made it better for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that.
Well, we've all seen Filoni's wife's coffee cup. The one that holds his balls.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe her boyfriend will let him play in Star Wars for a while.
Well, maybe J.J. Abrams is being floated around, right? Jar Jar could take over.
Oh my
God!
None of that's gonna matter. None of that's gonna matter. But just real quick, I did see your Muslim uncle had a great point because Mike was saying like, "Hey, we got our butts kicked." He referenced that line in Aliens. He goes, "I don't know if you've been keeping up with current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal." Like, it's not going to do anything. That's all I have to say.
Well, we all know that the one person that should get hired to replace her and could fix everything, Doomcock.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
I will proudly serve.
Can I suggest that you have Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade comes out of the shower and says, "I had the weirdest dream."
Yeah. Doomcock would walk in like Elon at Twitter with a kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Everybody, get your resumes ready.
That's right. That's exactly what would happen. It would be what have you done to make Star Wars great today?
5 bullet points. Go.
Wrong. Good day to you, sir. I said good day. But talking about good day, let's go ahead and take a look at the Andor season 2 trailer. Let's talk about it. I've got some screen grabs. We obviously can't show the trailer here, but let me go ahead and pull this up, and I'll give my I'll give my 2 cents after I've heard from everyone else. Let's start out with Nick. Nick, what did you think about the Andor trailer, and what did Coach think about it?
So me and Coach are totally see differently on this trailer. He actually thought it was decent, and he's looking forward to the show coming out and reviewing it and checking it out. He thinks it's gonna be better than season 1. I thought this was one of the worst fucking trailers I've ever seen. That god awful music playing, I was like, what is happening here? It completely took me out. I'm like, this is not Star Wars at all. Was there some cool shots and some cool scenes like that one right there with the TIE Interceptor? I don't even know if it's Interceptor because this is pre A New Hope, and I
Yeah,
don't
it's some
think they
kind of
had
tie design. Yeah.
Advance or something. Yeah. So, but yeah, that music. I mean, whoever came up with that music choice should be fired. The I mean, that is not Star Wars. This is more of that modern day audience, getting the modern audience involved. No,
Yeah.
John Williams' music was a character in itself in Star Wars. It was its own character. If you take John Williams' score out of those three movies, they're totally different movies.
Yeah.
Completely different. In this, they did the same dumb crap in freaking Ahsoka when that other freaking what's her name? The one who not Ahsoka, but the other one from Rebels.
Right. Yeah.
The one who's
Sabine.
got Sabine. Yeah, like nice ass to look at, but guy, you're dumb. And they freaking had her on a little speeder playing that whatever music with
Yeah.
lyrics. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? It's fine, in like the Jabba scene, the original Jabba scene, the special edition Jabba scene. I can't even watch. If it's on TV, I just pause it or fast forward through it every single time. But that sort of thing, in like a bar, gangster, that's fine. But in the trailer like this, oh, it was terrible. And then what the hell is this the lesbian witch thing right here? Are they all saying the power of one, the power of two, the power of many here?
Oh
Like,
no, shit! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was actually in the newsroom at the Hollywood Reporter when they heard that Kathleen Kennedy was retiring. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
This was wrong. This was not right. Just
Yeah.
ignore that one. Sorry. I
So,
don't know how that got in
but
there.
I'm in the camp of Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars. So before I even see this, it's getting a 0 out of 10 for me. I'll rank it as far as a show that's not Star Wars. K2SO, I found that character entertaining in Rogue One. It'll be cool to see him back in this. But yeah, I mean, the first season of Andor was so boring and so slow. Now, a lot of people love the writing and that sort of stuff, and I don't really take issue with that. But when you put modern day stuff in there like AK-47s and stuff like that, it completely takes me out of it. It was just too slow for me. But I know there's a lot of the people that actually did watch Andor. There's people out there. Oh, there's Serial Guy right there with
Yeah.
his futuristic tie. But yeah,
Quaker Oats.
yeah, that they it's got a fan base, but it's just not a lot of people. This Andor season 2 is not saving Star Wars. It'll get better reviews than the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, I'm sure. But like I said earlier, Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars.
No, it's not. And I agree with you, Nick. I mean, I'll go ahead and I don't think I should have the last word, so I'll go ahead and say what I thought. I really enjoyed Andor season 1. I didn't think it was slow for me because I like kind of like spy movies and war operation movies, kind of like Where Eagles Dare, where they're
Yeah.
trying to get a certain objective, and those are typically kind of more slow paced and slow burns, and so I didn't mind it in that vein. The only thing that I really didn't like, because I like the acting, I like the writing.
Yeah, I had no issue with those.
I thought it was good, but I did lament the fact that it wasn't fun in the same way that Star Wars is supposed to be fun. It was a heavy drama. It was a serious, kind of more adult oriented entertainment. But I thought the acting was great. Everything about it was very solid, but it was slow. Now this trailer for me caused me a lot of consternation because on the one hand, it left me thinking that Andor season 2 is going to be it's got a chance to be pretty fucking good. I mean, obviously they're going for more action, faster pace. And I think probably a lot of people will like that better. But I hated the music. I hated the concept of the trailer. It doesn't tell us a lot. and that music really was jarring me out of the thing. So I did not like the trailer, but I do like the project. I think that Andor season 2 may be quite good, surprisingly so. But I did not like the trailer. So that said, let's go over to let me see, who should we go to next? Let's go to Mexican Iron Man, because I know he can't stay very much longer. Mike, what'd you think?
Yeah, the music sucks. It was so annoying. I replayed it a second time with the music off. Looked better.
Yeah.
I think watching it without the music, went better. Are we going to be assigned to watch this?
Well, I think we should. I mean, at least
I think we
the
should
first
too.
few episodes.
Yeah.
Because I also don't really regard. Look, it's in the Star Wars universe, but when I saw it last year, I was like, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, it's like it was good. It was mediocre to good sci-fi, but I had a hard time getting the Star Wars feelings out of it.
Mhm.
Even though it's kind of Star Wars itch. I don't know. It's very fan filmy, although it looked a lot better. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not excited. What am I gonna do? I mean,
because it's dead for you. I mean, it's just
if I didn't have to watch it, like, do I have an interest? No. Like, if I'm gonna watch it because I'm on this panel. That's why I'm gonna watch it.
All right, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Gary, what'd you think of this trailer?
Bum ba-dum 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 dun 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 dun. Boy, it must be that fucking hard, right?
Yeah.
It must be really that fucking hard.
Yeah.
I don't mean to repeat everything that everybody already said, but yeah, that was my whole angle. I'm watching this one. What the fuck is this shit? Like if you turn off the sound, the trailer looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Coach he's not wrong, Nick, but neither
Yeah.
are you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it looks pretty cool, but who the fuck made that decision? Why do they always do this? Why? Why is it's like some dipshit PR Hollywood trailer making company makes these decisions for Disney and they allow them to do it. Oh, let's put a rock and roll song in it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You ruined like the whole delivery system of the trailer. It's completely it's gone. It doesn't matter what our original cast could have been in that trailer. It wouldn't have fucking mattered because it wouldn't have connected with anybody.
Yeah. It's like putting Metallica renditions at the end of Willow during the credits.
Hey, it doesn't.
Which they did.
Yes.
Trying to make a great galaxy.
Yeah.
That's it. That was my introduction to Andor season 2. I haven't seen the first season all the way. I watched a couple episodes and I was out like a fucking light. Best sleep I ever had. So I guess I better catch up on some more sleep so we can watch season 2. But yeah, this is God. Like how many more? You get 40 things right, and then you get one of the most important things wrong that you didn't get wrong with the other one.
Yeah.
Oops. Skeleton Crew, cool music. That was like one of the only decent things about the show. Now, okay, rock and roll. Let's put a song about rebellion in the trailer. Oh, what a good idea.
Well, then go the Sex Pistols at least. Come on.
I don't know, man. I mean, it must just be so monumentally fucking hard to put a little bit of John Williams music into these fucking things. I mean, I swear, like, just to even use any of his themes, it's got to be like $1 billion. Like, oh, John Williams is like, oh, you want to use my theme? Yeah, you can write me a check for $500 million. And they're like, nope, fuck that. We're going to put the rock and roll in there. It's fine. I mean, like, it must be it must be such a difficult concept to understand.
If only they had a background of music that had been used in previous films to draw on.
If only they had a history. If only they had a recorded database of how fucking important John Williams is to any movie that he's done a score to. I mean, it's the heartbeat of the fucking movie.
Has anyone put the Imperial March to music?
Sure.
I don't know, but I do. Hey, look, it's better than what they were going to use. You know, they were going to use, oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Darth Vader. Darth Vader. That's what it was going to be. And they
Heck,
went off of
the
that.
Disco Star Wars would have been better than this.
It would have been Migo. Yeah, put in pew pew pew. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, our buddy Matt Cave Gaming actually reworked the trailer and dropped it on Twitter and changed the music to it. And it definitely made the trailer better. He actually put some John Williams music in there and took that song out. Much better trailer, with the right music in there.
Absolutely.
You know what the ironic thing is? Oh, I'm sorry, DC.
All right, I will come back in just a sec, Sean, but Doug's got to go pretty soon, so let's get him in here. Doug, what do you think of Andor? What do you think of Andor season 1, and what do you think of Andor season 2, based on what you said?
I liked Andor season 1.
I did too.
It was hard to put the word intelligence in Disney Star Wars anywhere.
Yeah,
you could put it in that one. I think they dropped the ball. That they needed more aliens and droids in it. And I think they really dropped the ball on. They missed one of the best things about Rogue One was that pairing between the Andor character and the droid. And if you pretty much would have gold if you just had the sort of a buddy Star Wars series of those two guys running around. And it looks like he'll show up in this one, but it'll probably be brief. It looks like they're setting this will be the final season as they set it up before Rogue One. Spoiler, I know how it ends.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah. So, it looked cool, but that song, and of course, I sat through all the episodes of Willow, and it was a bad idea then. It's an even worse idea now. But of course, I've heard tell from no less than KK herself. You got to understand, guys, they got to make this stuff up on the fly because there's not a lot for them to draw from. There was no comic books, there's no novels, and apparently no sheet music. So, they got to cobble this together. And you always want to get that pulse of the young, And so, boy, that rock and roll stuff, that's what the kids are really going to right there, right? That's where it's at, guys. So that ought to be groovy. And so that's the thinking going in here. Maybe it'll work. But probably their best move was to sort of leak, hey, KK's leaving. And I hope that puts a little pep in the step for Andor season 2. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I did like the show, even though I saw it as its own thing. And I often said, boy, this would have been even better if it was like a Blake 7 reboot or something like that, because it's more akin to that in Star Wars.
Yeah, no shit.
So, but that's about it. That's all you could do. I mean, look, the telling sign is like we just sat through Skeleton Crew and thought, well, that was a cute little show. It was all right. It was kind of fun and stuff. Nobody watched it.
I know. Well, that's the problem. They've been driven away by the substandard shit and the lack of respect for the franchise and everything else. And when something good, pretty good, parts of Skeleton Crew, the first 2 episodes were crap.
Yeah.
But then
the problem too. I mean,
yeah. And then when Jude Law came, suddenly it picked up and really caught fire.
It's just a shame. It's just part of the sadness of the whole story. Is like, and you could have had something, but you've spoiled the pot a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then says, hey, but Acolyte got views. Yeah, because it was hate watching. It's like, how bad is this going to be?
Yeah. Everyone loves a fucking train wreck. That's what it is. Rubberneckers.
So that's that.
Well, that is that. Doug, thank you for being here tonight. Anything you'd like to plug? And I know we're losing Mexican Iron Man as well. Anything you'd like to plug, Mike, and Doug, and then we'll also send Mike out.
Well, the channel is the Nelson Ratings. You can watch me rant like I just did now on that. And the podcast is the Mr. Nelson Show over at radiomisfits.com or wherever you get your podcast. For all your other Nelson needs, you can you can follow me on X at Mr. Nelson, and you can go to the nelsonratings.locals.com. And boy, by a staggering coincidence, my Nelson podcast features audio plays by as most notably of which is Night Night. Oh boy. And I did comic books based on those audio plays, and they're available at indieplanet.com. So you head over there and you look up Night Night, and you can be as happy as Robert Wright is there in the screen there with his Night Night comic books. Oh boy, don't delay. Order yours today.
Thank you, Doug. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. You get all the way better, brother, and hopefully we will see you next week.
Will do.
Take care, brother. And Mike, I know it's busy time for you. What would you like to plug or say?
Well, I just want to say that whenever KK leaves, I've already emailed while I was on the show an offer for her to meet me at my new Mexican establishment and show. And I'm applying for USAID to fund it. So you might see more KK south of the border at Mexican Iron Man's pole dancing and tortilla show, if you know what I mean.
Sounds good.
South of the border, down Mexico way, right?
Yeah, we're going to do things that you could only dream of being legal up here in the States.
Tijuana, all the way.
Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you being here, my friend.
Love you, my great brother. Love the panel. Love you all in chat. Thanks for having me.
You
Later,
bet,
Mike.
man. See you
Mike,
next time.
later.
See you, Mikey.
So who wants to go next? Who hasn't commented? Go ahead, Rob.
You know, everybody's talked about the music to death. I won't talk about that. You know, it looks interesting. Part of the problem that they had with Andor was the time of day that they dropped the episodes on the original. I mean, Nick and Coach were staying up till like 2:00 in the morning just to see the episode versus a lot of their other shows that they dropped in prime time. So hopefully they do something better with this one and drop it at prime time so people can at least watch it when it comes out at a reasonable hour. But, you know, aside from the music, the problem that I have with the basic concept of the show is two things. I mean, first off, we already know his fate, which doesn't give me a whole lot of intrigue. Oh, well, he's not going to die. He's not in any danger because we know he lives. I think they're bringing out member berries with other characters, which is kind of interesting. Apparently, there's a rumor they may bring Vader back, but do I really need Vader? Not really. It's an interesting story, an interesting concept. I like the fact that it's kind of set in a timeline right before A New Hope. And it looks kind of interesting. I liked Rebels, but at the end of the day, I don't know what kind of story you can really tell. It would have been interesting to see the show a couple of years before Rogue One came out, and then you give us Rogue One. That would have been more interesting because you're finding out about Rebel cells and how they kind of come together. That's kind of interesting. But if we already kind of know the last half of that story, where's our investment in it? That's my only issue with it. But I think, you know, kind of the espionage kind of stuff and kind of fighting the Empire, that's kind of cool. That's kind of Star Wars-y. I mean, I'll say this for you. This looks more Star Wars-esque than, you know, 10 times what they've shown in the past couple stuff, like the Woka Light and Awoka. None of that looked as much like the original trilogy as this does. So I will give them kudos for that. So it might be a decent show, but at the same time, who's your audience now? I mean, the kids aren't watching it. Us Gen Xers, half of us have checked out. Who cares now? That's the sad part.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Well said. Sean, what do you think?
Like I said, interesting trailer. The visuals look cool. At least we could see stuff. It wasn't all dark.
Yeah.
There were some interesting things happening, but again, that music. If there's one thing that the modern Star Wars has done decently well, it's emulating John Williams' music pretty well. The music is always okay, and let's get rid of it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
insane.
but you know, yeah, looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I never saw the first season, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that, and then see what this one brings.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I mean, honestly, I enjoyed Andor season. The only thing two things. I didn't like the fact that it didn't have any lightheartedness or fun or adventure like the original Star Wars. And the second thing was the scene when they're in the prison, like building the fucking, you know, Death Star components and shit, was so fucking grim that it was more like THX 1138 than Star Wars. And it just Jesus, it was definitely fucked up in my opinion. Heather L, what do you think about the trailer? What do you think about Andor season 2 potentially?
Yeah, well, one funny thing, if you can stomach watching it with the sound up again and tolerate that just god awful music, there's one funny part where the tie, I think it looks like an interceptor. I know it probably shouldn't be at this point in the timeline, but that's kind of what it looks like. It's in the hangar and it's shooting, like going across and shooting all the troopers. It's actually making a machine gun sound. Like, okay, kudos to the sound effects guy. I think we're supposed to get like the laser pew pew there, not a machine gun. Never heard anything in Star Wars sound like a machine gun. I was like,
Well, this
I
was
had
a
to,
prototype.
yeah, early prototype, right? That's how they were. So I had to actually
Yeah.
rewind it back. I'm like, was that a machine gun?
This was
Uh,
back when Vader was working with Cobra Commander to make sure that they got the most bang for their buck.
yeah, absolutely. So this is early model. I understand. Yeah, but I mean, basically what everyone else said. I like Andor. I think it's a pretty good show. I just wish they would have used an original character to do it because we know what happens with the Death Star. We know what happens with the Rebellion. We know what happens with the character Andor. At least if they would have done an original character instead of like an origin story, at least we could have some mystery on what happens with this character. It kind of feels like, yeah, we know how this ends, and maybe that's the reason people aren't watching it because I do think it's a pretty good show.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a very good show. Surprisingly good for Disney Star Wars. And Annie Masterson, we can see you clearly now. You look very good. How you doing? And what do you think of the trailer?
Well, I'm thinking that um, the solution to all this is multiverse. If they just include a multiverse in this, they could fix all their problems. Um, and the other thing with the everybody's complaining about the music, but we don't know like what they could have used, and that would have been a different story altogether. I really want to see like what happens with the like if they're gonna like go all in and follow the acolyte vein and kind of portray those things we saw in Caged Heat with the women in prison movies.
Which is an excellent movie. See, Heather L, I told you that that's an excellent movie, and we did not conspire on that, did we, Andy? I've been
Yeah,
preaching Caged
right.
Heat for
Uh-huh.
quite a while now, and they've been giving me shit about it. And thank you,
Uh-huh.
Andy. Thank you.
So yeah, is that the movie of the week next week? Cage Heat?
Maybe. Well, no, because I don't trust Rob to pull the screen caps, and there's so much
Oops,
wonderful
I slipped.
things in that
Yeah.
movie that he might let some of them slip. Go ahead, Andy.
So yeah, that's the thing with Andor. I think it's a shame that this thing came in and it's so it at a time when you don't have an audience for it. Like I've said many times, this would be healthy if you had a core franchise, and this could be like an ancillary thing off to the side, and it would gain an audience, and it would be done well. Um, I think it's pretty sad that you've got these performers that are actually doing a decent job, and I think its saving grace is probably that they're not paying that much attention to it. They're probably looking at this thing and not putting all of their efforts behind it. And I think the problem with modern Disney is nobody wants to work with them. They've kind of got that poison touch to them, and people with real talent don't want to go anywhere near it for a fear of sullying themselves. I mean, and think about this. Just a few years ago, you had everybody and their brother trying to get into some kind of MCU role in just a passing cameo thing that they could get in there and say they were part of this because it was so big. And Star Wars was the original thing of that. I mean, Mace Windu, like Samuel L. Jackson wanted to get in there and say, yeah, just give me a purple lightsaber and don't let me go out like a bitch. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to. I mean, this is really building up the suspense because we don't know what happens to, like, say, Forrest Whitaker's character. We don't know what happens to Diego Luna. We don't know what happens to Felicity Jones when she eventually shows up. Maybe just maybe they'll come up with a character that actually survives Rogue One, and we can follow that character into some kind of story. It's a shame that they don't have the creativity that a lot of the fans have. You see a lot of the fan content that's come out with this, and it's got more imagination and more love than what the professionals have created, which makes you wonder, why don't they just get their head out of their ass and hire some of the fan creators? You know, you're starting to see that a lot of people are recognizing that, hey, you know what? Maybe some of these lowly people have better ideas than what we do. There's a lot that could be offered from just listening to your fan base, listening to the people that actually buy your products, and then maybe you'd sell something. I'm hoping that, like, music aside, we can all agree that the music is lacking because it needs some of that John Williams love. But I think this is the one. It's a shame that, like, there's not a healthy Star Wars core franchise to bring this about, to bring people's attention to this, because this could be something that was brewing in the sidelines. It's got a lot of good visuals, a lot of good tension, and the acting as well. Like in the first season was really well, but it's just too little, too late. It's just like the same problem you have with Skeleton Crew. As good as Jude Law was, it's sort of like, you find a dead body there and you ruffle through the pockets and you find a couple gold coins. Not that I've ever done that, but that's sort of where you're at with it.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Has everyone commented at this point? I believe they have.
So, yeah.
All right. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to some super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and review our movie of the week. Sound good? Let's make it happen. All right, so here we go, folks. Thank y'all for your patience. Dark Saber Force with a $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, after those comments, Elon should have told him F off and brought in Henry Cavill when he was a few years younger. Henry would have stayed loyal to the lore. Yeah, I believe that's true, Dark Saber Force. Henry Cavill's one of us, man. He really cares about these things, and he fought for The Witcher, and they were just too woke. They were by God going to woke shit, and that's what they were going to do, and they shoved him aside, and that's why he left. And I think he did the only thing he could. And he's also fighting for Warhammer 40K as well, which I think is fantastic. Jack White with a $20 super chat, a $2 super chat, and a $50 super chat. Hail to you, Jack. For all of those, you, sir, are an executive producer on Pop Culture Breakdown tonight. Thank you. And he says, Doug, you're right about the Britain of Bond no longer exists outside of the countryside, and the current government wants to destroy that, thanks to Tony Blair, the former idiot war criminal PM of the UK. Who's pushing hardcore for digital ID out there. Yeah, the UK is having a shit time these days. I feel for all of you wonderful folks in the UK. Your freedom of speech is being curtailed. It's a real time of tyranny over there. And Jack White with a $50 super chat and another $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack. He says, my lord, could you force Harvey to stop doing every woman he sees? Fuck you, man. Don't interfere in my love life. He says, I'm getting tired of having to do paternity tests. God, make it stop. Make him stop. And having to deal with his crying, screaming offspring when I draw blood from them. Hey, fuck you, man. Why don't you adopt them? And Jack also says, oh, and Harvey, all those tests came out positive. So, yes, you are the father. Nuh-uh. Get used to it. Hell nah. And start paying your child support. Hell nah, man. Ain't nothing for me, man. I got to tell you, Jack, go screw yourself, dude. Nothing to do with me. But I tell you what, if you find some kids that need a home, well, you adopt them, mofo. Shit. Why don't you give them a try? All right. We won't settle this here, but gauntlet thrown down, Jack. Harvey will remember. Chris Nicholson with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Chris says, R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg. I watched her on Nick's shows since I was 4. Gone too soon and far too young. Agreed. Thank you, Chris, man. That was a shocker. That was a damn shocker, man. It's terrible. Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat and a very good point about the whole Captain Kirk situation. Thank you, Michael. He says, I was hoping Shatner would live forever, right up until the moment you said Star Trek sitcom. Remember SNL skit with Enterprise as a restaurant? Yeah, I'd rather he had
Yeah.
a dignified goodbye. Yeah. No, Michael, I agree entirely. That's why I was very cautious in my reaction in my video about Shatner's post. You know, I really almost hope that he just lets it go by. You know, I think that was a pretty good ending. Although if they did get somebody talented, like I said, that really loves the franchise, then by God, I would be on board for a final farewell to Captain James T. Kirk. Scott V with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Scott. He says, Hail Doomcock and panel. The day Captain Kirk dies will be a very sad day. When Spock died, I did cry. I can't imagine how I will react to Kirk dies. I know, man. I don't even want to think about it. Mike and I don't even like to even consider the notion. It'll be one of the worst days of our lives, frankly. If you love Star Trek and Captain Kirk like I do, that's gonna hurt.
As Dino De Laurentiis would say.
When Jaws die, nobody cry. When Kirk die, his people are gonna cry. It's true. It's true. Also, Wario and Luigi, I think, say similar things. It's funny. Anti-derivative Jill with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jill. Jill says, as much as I'd love to see Captain Kirk again, as long as Kurtzman's secret hideout is producing Trek, I have no trust or faith. Jill, you are wise. I absolutely feel exactly the same fucking way. Exactly. Jack White with the $10 super chat. Thank you again, Jack White, executive producer on Pop Culture Breakdown. He says, don't know how Andy is still breathing teaching MILFs, especially since he's married. Frankly, I'm surprised his missus don't have his jewels in a to-go bag. Oh, any comment on that, Andy?
Well, yeah, like unceasing combat tends to do that. So, like, as my wife and I like hurl things at each other from across the room, like, and the honeymooners have nothing on us. So,
Oh, so it's like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at the Masterson household. All right.
correct. Yes.
Very well. Very well. Excellent. Good to know. So bring a crash helmet if you visit. It's important. It's a basic safety tip. Rod Thunderheart with a $5 Canadian super chat. Rod, it's great to see you, my friend. He says, Hail, been running pipe all up north all week. Oh, is that what he's calling it these days? Running pipe up north all week. I have my reservations of Shatner accepting, but have faith. As Whoopi said, when you're in the Nexus, you are everywhere. Well, that's very optimistic, Rod. I mean, they did Kirk dirty as shit in Generations, and that's why to this day I have never watched Generations. I've watched just the opening part just to see him, and a little bit like when he appeared with that bald fuck that I no longer would spit on if he were on fire. But the rest of it, no. Shatner never died in my dojo. Kirk never perished in my dojo. I never saw it, never will. Bushin Ryu Cat with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Bushin Ryu Cat. Says, instead of Shatner acting in Star Trek, let him consult or produce a show. Also, Indiana Jones can be saved. Dr. Jones about the grandson of Indy. Well, not Mutt, though, right? We're not going to do Shia LaBeouf or whatever. Yeah, okay, well, shit, why not? Grandson of Indy, it passed, it leapt over a generation or something. Sure, why not?
You know, I do have an idea that would fix that, though. Like when Chuck Norris in Missing in Action 2 comes out with all the rescued POWs, Mutt should be with them. That would be just not Shia LaBeouf, just recast him. But like, that would be a great scene.
That would be, man. That would be. Hell, that would have been better than what we got. You know, like Indy heads over to the jungles of Vietnam because he's being held by, Mutt, got captured behind enemy lines. And while he's there, he comes across a cult in the jungle, you know, with a temple and area. It could be kind of cool. Would have been better than what we got. That's for damn sure. Jack White with two $5 super chats in a row. Hail to you, executive producer Jack White. He says, why is it surprising that they would race/gender swaps Jesus? I mean, look at the other historical features they have done that to in recent years. Look up images. Well, that's one thing. Yeah, but Jesus is different. Jesus is a bit different than that. And, you know, turning him into a bald woman of color for Jesus Christ Superstar entails a rewrite as well of the Gospels. You know, it's just, yeah, I think it's just a bit too fucking much, at least for me. Jack White also says with a $5 super chat, look up images of Tinashe from Unnamed Memory and Vanessa and Nautica and Noel Silva and Mimosa Vermilion from Black Clover. I will do that while listening to the notes that Gary is going to give us on Shane here in just a minute. But thank you, Jack. I appreciate the guidance to sexy anime characters. How well you know me, sir. Thank you, Jack White. And Udite1, been a channel member of mine for 15 months at the Dumentite level. Thank you, Udite1, says, I'm 40. Michelle Trachtenberg was a celeb crush since I was 12, and she was Harriet the Spy. Man. Yeah, guys, listen, I'm really sorry, you know. It hurts when someone you've watched your whole life, maybe had a crush on, admired from afar, departs prematurely. It's a hard thing, and I'm very sorry for the loss to all of you guys mourning Michelle, and God bless her. A lot of people loved that woman. Swift -1 with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Swift -1 says, I have to be realistic. What would Kirk's character do exactly? Go on a mission? With what crew? What reality? Even if they respect Kirk, it could still go south. Well, I'm assuming that they would do the same kind of technology that they used on Unification, to go ahead and let him voice the character, maybe act a character with mocap and have it be like a time machine. You know, I mean, that's what I'm assuming that they're talking about. If I'm wrong, then it's an entirely different can of worms there. But I think it could be brilliant, but not by anyone associated with Star Trek Discovery, Suck New Worlds, Puke Hard, any of that shit. No thanks. No thanks. I'd rather watch laundry dry on a line. Okay. Hound of Ill Omens with a $10 super chat. Thank you. Hound of Ill Omens says people keep bringing up Henry Cavill, but I think he's already taken in the 40K show. I bet he could find the time to play James Bond. I don't know. I have a feeling Henry Cavill could make the time to play James Bond. I mean, Jesus, it's kind of a holy grail, isn't it? I think he could make it work. I think he could make it work. All right, let's go ahead and get to the movie that we love this week, shall we? All right. Sounded like the sea there, either or somebody maybe breathing very, very heavily. What the fuck is that? Anyway,
guys are watching Caged Heat. That's the heavy.
By the way, did you know that a future Oscar winner for Best Director directed Caged Heat? Same director as Silence of the Lambs, folks.
Oh my God, that's right.
Wow. Really?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh my God.
Oscar winner.
So
director.
he was trying to recreate Caged Heat when he had the naked dude dancing in front of the mirror with the
Yes.
James Gum. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he look, he's not batting 1,000. Okay, batting 750.
Okay.
All right. James Gum. Jesus Christ. All right. It rubs the lotion on its skin. God, we should do Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a
Lord.
great fucking
Yeah.
movie. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's a good movie.
But our movie this week is George Stevens' production of Shane, with a controversial ending that I'm sure we will get into discussing here. But this one's a classic, folks. Gary, what do you think about this movie?
Well, this was the very first time I've seen this movie.
Oh wow, really? Wow.
Yeah, I had never seen this movie before. And let me tell you, this was a tough one to research. A very, very
No
tough movie
shit,
to
really?
research. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, let's do this, guys. Shane. The classic 1953 Western drama starring Alan Ladd and William Jack Palance, directed by George Stevens, nominated for 5 Academy Awards and winning 1 for Best Cinematography, produced on a $3.1 million budget and bringing in $9 million during its worldwide theatrical release. One of the most expensive movies at its time. One of the most expensive Westerns produced of its
Wow.
time. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wonder why. It doesn't look like it's that,
I agree. I agree. Based on the novel of the same name by Jack Schaefer, published in 1949, originally published in Argosy magazine over 3 issues, the book was eventually printed all over the world in 30 different languages. The story is unofficially derived from the actual events of the Johnson County War from 1889 to 1893 in Wyoming, during which ranchers and large cattle companies fought with small settlers in the area. The big-time ranchers who claimed their business were threatened by the settlers falsely accused them of stealing cattle and used this as an excuse to hire independent gunmen to threaten their lives. The settlers responded by assembling a 200-man posse, including local lawmen, and the two sides fought for 4 years until President Harrison intervened with the cavalry branch of the U.S. Army. The conflict was also the center of the story for the 1946 film The Virginian, as well as Michael Cimino's epic 1980 Western revival, Heaven's Gate. Star of the World War II and post-war era, Alan Ladd was primarily known for his roles in Western and noir pictures. Director George Stevens originally wanted William Holden in the role of Shane, with Montgomery Clift in the opposite Starrett role. Neither were available, so Stevens requested a list of actors available under Paramount contract. Within just a few minutes, Ladd, Van Heflin, and Jean Arthur were hired. Jean Arthur, star of 3 of Frank Capra's films, including Mr. Smith Goes to Washington opposite Jimmy Stewart, had not appeared in a film since 1948. Shane was her last, and at the time of the production, she was 50 years old. Despite being typecast in 2 firearm-heavy genres of cinema, Alan Ladd hated and was completely uncomfortable around guns. The scene where Shane gives young Joey a shooting lesson required over 100 takes, and if you look closely, you can see Ladd flinching during most of his gunfights. Ladd was insistent on aiming the firearm several feet away from his co-stars, which, although safe and possibly a bit of an overstep, is the complete opposite approach from head of the Film Actors Guild, abbreviated, and the greatest actor in the world, Alec Bullseye Baldwin, whose firearm safety philosophy can be summed up in one of his lines from 1994's The Shadow, which is, quote, "shoot through him." One-armed push-up champion and all-around tough guy Jack Palance was apparently not comfortable around horses. Apparently his mounting and dismounting skills were so bad that after dozens of takes, Stevens had to use the single usable dismount take multiple times, not only for him getting off the horse, but for getting on as well by running the shot backwards. Palance was scripted for his character's arrival into town on a horse, which was scrapped for him just arriving on foot. This later proved to be a much more menacing introduction for Palance, possibly because this was a man that not even a horse could trust. The film was shot on location in the high plains of Jackson, Wyoming, and was selected primarily for its wide landscape featuring the Grand Teton mountain range. The town and the Starrett homestead were built for the production near the census-designated place of Kelly in the Jackson Hole Valley. After shooting wrapped, the sets were, for the most part, demolished, save for the Ernie Wright cabin, which is now known as the Shane cabin. It is decaying, but can still be seen and is regulated by the Wyoming National Park Service.
Wow, cool.
The final scene between young Joey and Shane is a tearjerker for sure. However, during Ladd's close-ups, child actor Brandon DeWild stuck his tongue out and made faces at Shane. This made Ladd laugh, and the young punk finally straightened up after the pissed-off actor told DeWild's father, "Make the kid stop or I'm going to beat him over the head." Shane was adapted into a TV series running 17 episodes, starring David Carradine and Jill Ireland from Star Trek: The Original Series, and premiered on ABC on December 31st, 1966. I did not know that. I haven't seen the show.
Not me either.
Shane was the first film in history to be screened in flat widescreen 1.66 ratio. This was a process pioneered by Paramount Pictures and preserved the beautiful landscape, which earned the film its sole Oscar win. This film arguably contains the very first depiction of graphic violence in cinema history. Director George Stevens wanted to show just how terrifying and horrific a fatal gunshot wound can be. For the scene where Palance guns down Elisha Cook, the sound effect of the gunshot was created by firing a high-caliber firearm into a metal garbage can. Additionally, Cook was rigged with wires which pulled him back as he was shot, giving the illusion of force blasting his body back and into the mud.
Wow.
Acclaimed directors Sam Peckinpah and Christopher Nolan both agree that this is the moment where, quote, things changed in movies.
Wow.
Before attempting to recreate this graphic scene for his own Western revival epic Rust, the sharpshooter himself, Alec Baldwin, was heard on set before cameras rolled saying, "Hold my beer."
Oh, man.
My final note, in 2003, a Japanese company began selling unlicensed copies of Shane on DVD in their country. Although Paramount brought them to litigation in 2006, they eventually lost on the finding that any film over 50 years old falls into Japanese public domain. So anyone out there who's interested in remaking Jaws in Okinawa this year, give me a call. That is all I could find on Shane, guys. That was,
well done, dude. Well
that
done.
was very difficult, but yeah, this was my first time seeing it. It's a beautiful looking movie. If you guys look at the even the nighttime shots are just gorgeous. The cinematography, obviously deserved its Academy Award. But it's just beautiful. Not one scrap of not one section of frame is wasted. Mm-hmm. Not one. And look at the beautiful clouds in the negative space there. Yeah. It's really, really gorgeous. The story's great. The story is so simple. And as I was watching this, I just started thinking about, why didn't they just make Star Wars shows like this? Like this could have been The Mandalorian, and it kind of was. But, why didn't they go more into, just taking these basic morality tales and making those like, Star Wars shows? Because that's what really stood out to me. Like this kind of, lone stranger wanders into town and ends up kind of saving this family from this attacking, this cattle company. And then, these guys are hiring these, this is a very, this is the modern mythology from America. You know what I mean? We had Aesop's fables and things like that, and we had the Odyssey, but this is American mythology. And although it is based on a true story, I mean, I'm sure a lot of this is fable. But really, this story is it's been done a lot. But I think that this is probably the best way of doing this story. It's a beautiful movie. Westerns really, especially nowadays when we're so heavily bombed out with technology, and we can never escape our phones, and there's light pollution, noise pollution. I just dream of being in one of these films, actually living in one of them. Where you look up in the sky and you can see every single star because there's not a street light, ever. Where there's no phone. there's no lights, there's no motor cars.
Yeah.
You know,
Not a single luxury.
exactly. But yeah, I thought it was a beautiful movie. Unforgiven is very similar to this.
Mhm.
It's a better movie, but this is a beautiful, beautiful film. I really like the kid and the dog. That was great.
Yeah.
Palance, of course, is awesome, even though he doesn't know shit about horses. But which is really weird to me. He's such a badass. I look at him in City Slickers. I'm like, what is he on, one of them plastic cows or something? What is that? But yeah, it's a beautiful film, and I want to thank the person who suggested it, because I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you like this review of this movie.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it, because it's really it's a damn good movie. Very, very touching.
Yes.
Rob Wright. Well, look, here we go. Writing off. It's an interesting ending, and I'd like to hear what you think about it, Rob.
Well, first of all, howdy, folks. Being from Texas, I definitely had to bring my pearl snaps and my hat out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, for Western. Anyway, so this film's interesting. I love the cinematography. The story is great. The thing about the kid, it's sometimes he's a little bit annoying, but when I think about myself at that age, I was probably just as annoying to adults. And also, you kind of see the movie a little bit through the kid's eyes, which I think is interesting. An interesting aspect about this film. One other thing I want to bring up about the history of the area and the Johnson County War. And you see this a little bit in the film and the shots. So Wyoming used to be, when they say open range, it was public domain. So they would have the cattle out grazing wherever they could. And everybody would have all their cattle together. And the branding would tell you whose cows they were. And in the springtime, they would have a roundup, and then everybody would get their cows. Well, they passed the Homestead Act, which gave land to different settlers coming in, and different settlers occupied some of that land. And some of the land was on certain water rights or certain water holes that, they would take their cows to, or have their cows go and drink the water. And when the settlers took over the water rights, it was hard for them to find water or use the water. So it was a little bit on both sides. It was real nasty and real awful. And, you probably should have divided both sections up a little bit better than they did, but that's what happened. And there are a lot of movies based upon this, but this movie for 1953 is just incredible. And I think it still holds up today, especially the cinematography. I mean, when I was taking shots of this movie, I just was in awe of the Tetons and the beautiful scenery. I love that aspect. I love Montana and Wyoming and some of these scenic places that you can go to and hike in and just enjoy nature. And absolutely, one of the important things, Gary made reference to Star Wars. Why not film some of Star Wars in a place like this? Instead of using CGI, use the actual mountains and film something Star Warsy with that background. That would be awesome. The actors in this movie are really interesting. I mean, you had some of the well-known character actors from different movies in this film, particularly, I still can't believe that Jean Arthur was 50 years old. You told me that, and I was just flabbergasted because she looks great in this movie. But Ben Johnson plays one of the early villains in the movie, and he's usually a good guy in all the John Wayne movies that I watch. So it was unusual to see him play a bad guy. But the cool thing about his character is his character kind of has a change of heart, and he actually tells Shane what was going to happen at the end. And I think that's a key moment in the film with his character. And it's really cool to see, because you see Ben Johnson being totally different than you've seen him in any other movie or Western. There are a couple other character actors that I've recognized. They're in this. The guy who plays the Swede, another guy whose house gets burned. Both of those are character actors in several other movies that I've watched. And it just shows kind of the great cast that they brought together that made up this film. Another great thing about this film is there are a lot of great fist fights. And you know, Gary told us about violence in movies. Well, the fist fights kind of started off in this movie and several other Westerns, and it carried on to television and movies of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And, it's something that I think we're missing in our culture today, because I think some of these choreographed fist fights were really, really good quality fights, and they showed action and kept you entertained a lot more than some of the fast paced action that we see in our movies today. So, guys, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out. There's a lot of great action. There's a really good story. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's beautiful scenery. It's 2 hours, but it kind of flies by. And I think you'll like it. It's really a great movie. And, this was the start of really this panoramic scenery and really a different genre of Western that we start to get in the 50s and 60s. It's a little bit different from the black and white, so the 30s and 40s. So,
all right. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it, brother. Good job. Sean, what do you think of Shane? Have you seen it?
Yeah, what a charming movie this was. It was beautiful. The story is simple and the morality story. And a lot of people say that the kid was annoying. I didn't think so. I thought he did a fine job. And I looked, he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this role. And the ending, man, it brought me to tears. Even though I wasn't aware of the controversy, but still, it makes you cry a little bit, but it's good. I loved seeing Samuel T. Cogley, attorney at law, in this
Yes,
film.
exactly.
And he was good. Not really much to add, but a really charming movie. And I want to thank the name escapes me who had asked us to watch this, but I want to thank
Angry Yeti TV.
Angry Yeti TV. Thank you. Thank you, Angry Yeti. This was a charming movie, and I'm glad that you shared that with us. I wish I would have watched this with my own dad. It would have been cool, because I know he did like this movie a lot. I just never sat down and watched it with him, but it was great. Go check it out, everybody. You won't be disappointed.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it, brother. Nick, have you seen this movie before?
So I have not seen this recently. I didn't get a chance to watch it this week. I did see it when I was a kid, but I barely remember it. Like, I remember there was like a gunslinger that was helping out some farmers and stuff like that. Like, I remember the basic premise of the movie, but I saw it when I was a kid with my dad and my grandfather. So yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch it at some point in time, but I did not get a chance to catch up on it. But I have seen it. I barely remember it.
No problem, man. I understand. That's one of those things. What about you, Heather L? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I watched it this week. The best thing by far was the cinematography and just the incredible scenery. All those wide shots were really amazing. That was my favorite thing about it. As far as the kid, now he's not annoying. He's way beyond fucking annoying. Like, I thought people spanked kids back in those days. Like, he needed a severe beating to just shut the hell up. Holy
Jesus,
crap,
Heather.
that was horrible. My
He
God.
was fine.
No, he was awful.
No.
Oh, terrible. But yeah, the plot was actually Pale Rider was exactly this movie. I'm surprised they didn't get sued for like taking the story exactly. I had never seen this before, but yeah, it gold miners instead of ranchers, but exactly the same story. So I thought that was interesting. I actually felt bad for the cattlemen. I mean, they were there first, and the settlers move in and fence off the water supply. So, I mean, I didn't think it was a clear good guys and bad guys, but interesting movie. I enjoyed watching it.
All right, fair enough. What did you think, Annie Masterson?
Well, I'd like to start off with reciting a little bit of poetry. A cowboy needs a horse, needs a horse, needs a horse. He's got to have a rope, have a rope, have a rope. He's got to have a song, have a song, have a song if he wants to keep a riding. I saw this movie a long, long time ago, first time with my dad, and Jack Palance was, man, Jack Palance was so cool. He was like, and that scene at the end, I mean, this really comes. I heard about you, Wilson. What have you heard, Shane? That you're a low down Yankee liar. Um, I do have to, as I rewatched this, I noticed that I picked up some things that I hadn't noticed before. Most notably, that Ellen Corby has never looked more fetching than, well, maybe when she was grandma on the Waltons, she was pretty stunning then. Uh, and Ice Pick from Magnum, like as in a young role where he was playing the poor guy that got shot in the mud. Um, which hey, Alec Baldwin had the inspiration somewhere. Uh, but the fight scenes, it's interesting because when you look at it, Ben Johnson was a big man, and Alan Ladd wasn't. I think Alan Ladd was like 5'7", and you put him up against and they're doing some pretty good camera work there. And Alan Ladd was notoriously self-conscious about his height, which still towers above Tom Cruise. And he was, but the fight scenes and choreography, they're kind of missing their punches. It got me thinking that Alan Ladd didn't not only like the violence of guns, but maybe fighting too. Because he kind of missed a lot. The shots were kind of wide. I mean, you look at things from a modern day standpoint where uh, the camera angles and everything really do a good job at making the fight scenes look realistic, and everything is overly dramatic in this. But it's very entertaining. The boy, yeah, as I understand, they used some of this footage back in the '70s to gain support for Roe versus Wade with this kid. Oh God, he was, oh my
Wow.
God, and that
What
the
a
bowl
what a good
haircut,
boy.
and
Oh, oh.
and that part at the end, he really summed it up as this. And mother wants you, Shane. Well, yeah, we kind of got that idea. Apparently, everybody knew except her husband that she was. Woo, I got the vapors and a little bit of the, the moist. Well,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is a classic western. It's I found it interesting, the leather and the fringe. It kind of harkens back to John Wayne's early stuff when he wore those same kind of traditional western outfits. I've been to Wyoming. I herded cattle in Wyoming, and the scenery is absolutely breathtaking out there. It is. Fortunately, I wasn't there in the winter because it's a completely different animal, but it is absolutely stunning to get out there in Wyoming, and the smell of sagebrush just permeates the air, and it's sort of like a minty pine tree, and it's oh God, it's fabulous. You just have to watch where you're riding your horse because there's badger holes everywhere. But this film really did such a good job with the cinematography. I was a little confused when I was watching this when Elijah Cook Jr., who was Stonewall, and he's giving a toast to Alabama, and I was thinking, if he thinks he's in Alabama, he really has a more serious problem because it's quite a ways off. But yeah, this is a classic movie. It's it has been done in a modern sense better with Pale Rider and Unforgiven. Um, you can really see that the Shane character would have probably been a little bit more like William Money than he was, the noble, wonderful character that he was. But it's enjoyable. I did feel that it was a little slow, but I got to remember that it came from a different time when people were going to the movies and they had more time to spend there, and they wanted to get lost in this. They wanted to be immersed in these other places and things because the world was a lot smaller back. It was a lot larger back then. It was the idea that you could just go places was not accessible to everybody, and your neighborhood was pretty much all you were going to see in most of your life. And now, of course, we've got travel is much easier to do, and uh, spare time is a luxury, and which I think is part of the reason we see so many things that are um, binge watched and so forth. It does harken back to a more innocent time when morality was sort of more clear cut and decent. I get Heather's point with the ranchers. Yeah, they did And the bad guy does make a good argument that like they were the ones that went out there and risked everything and settled the land and fought and took the big risks, and now everybody else comes along and like, well, now this is our share in things. So it is an interesting quandary that it brings up. But yeah, it's really really a classic Western movie. Um, John Wayne still is my favorite, followed closely by Clint Eastwood. But there's so many actors that have done such great jobs with Western roles. And this is Alan Ladd really did a good job at portraying that heroic stereotype. The supporting cast is great. The uh, the story, it makes sense. It's like, you know these guys are really up against it, and you really see how most people will fold under pressure. But there's a couple in there that really are committed to it, and that's inspiring. So it is a great movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It was nice seeing it again because it has been, God, over 30 years since I've seen it the last time, and it was fun, and it brought me back to a place where like watching these old movies with my father, and the westerns were really good for that moral lesson too. And I think Hollywood could really learn something from this because they certainly don't have their morals in a good place.
Thank you very, very much, Andy Masterson. Appreciate it, my friend. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to the rest of these here super chat things, and then we'll wrap this up, I think. Let's do it.
Super chance, mofo.
All right, all right, all right. Super chats, mofo indeed. Well said, Harvey. Well said. R.I.P. Bad Wolf has been a channel member of mine, a Dumentide, for 24 months now. That's 2 years, folks. And R.I.P. Bad Wolf says, just stopping in to say hail, brother. And I hope y'all are having a wonderful and blessed night. Also, make movies great again and make shows great again. Here, here. Well said, R.I.P. Bad Wolf. We here at the center of the earth salute you, my friend. Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Says, hearing KK is leaving Disney feels like hearing the Zeppelin Company announce Max Pruss is stepping down as captain of the Hindenburg after the Lakehurst, New Jersey arrival. What difference would it make? A nice history lesson from Michael Beacom, Zeppelin aficionado extraordinaire. Thank you, Michael Beacom. And Admiral Teague has been a channel member for 37 months now. Thank you, Admiral. He's a Dumentide of mine as well. And he says, hail, DC. Meet me, Sean, and JT on the final frontier. Saturday at 9:30 p.m. for the next exciting 23-year-old episode of Star Trek Enterprise. 23 years. Good Lord in heaven. Thank you, Admiral Teague. And thank you for being a stalwart ally in the fight to save Star Trek. And Carla Burton is one of my wrenches. She's been a channel member of mine for 46 months now. Thank you, Carla. And she says, happy birthday to the best Mexican Iron Man ever. What is it? It's not his birthday today, is it?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. All right. Well, shit. I wish I'd have known. I would have wished. Well, I wish him happy birthday tomorrow. Thank you very much, Carla Burton. It's great to see you, Carla, as always. Kevin Stone with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Kevin Stone. Says somebody should be playing the old Doors song, "The End," for Star Wars. That's right. They could be singing "The End," and then you see KK, in camo, makeup, come, sticking her head up out of the water.
Yeah.
The mist goes down. This is the end. My only friend, the end. I think that would be fantastic. Hail, Kevin Stone. Good idea. Can it be done? And Skeptical Panda has been a channel member of mine for 21 months and sent an Invisible Man super sticker. Thank you very, very much, Skeptical Panda. We very, very much appreciate you, sir. And Michael Whitehead with a £5 super chat all the way from the UK. Thank you, Michael Whitehead. He says, What does panel think that KK may have dirt on everyone? Weinstein style is why she isn't fired. She can bring them down with what she knows. I think she's got something in her contract that said as long as like new Star Wars was in production or something that she was automatically renewed. But there's been a lot of speculation. That's what I've heard, but I'm not sure if that's correct.
DC, can I chime in on that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of people say that about KK, that she knows where the burials are and stuff. I'm not so sure I believe that. Maybe she's got some political dirt on people, internal, like, hey, someone slept with someone's wife or something. But if it's anything bad, I mean, she would then be an accessory to a crime, like, and I don't really know if I buy that so much. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to comment on that because I do see that going around some.
No, that's a good point, dude. Well said. Yeah, I don't know that she has that, but I mean, shit, she might. I mean, just the threat of it alone would be enough. But I don't know. That's an interesting point. It would be a risky game. Blackmail always is. So I don't know that that's involved. Who knows? Kevin Stone with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Kevin says, let Danny Elfman do the music for Star Wars. At least he is good at it, like in Batman. Yeah. I wonder who the fuck this band was, or God forbid it was recorded especially for Andor season 2. It's just not a great.
No, it's not.
No, it's not great, dude. It was bad. It really impacted the perception of the trailer. But I am convinced that season 2 is going to be pretty good. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to definitely give it a chance. Aurora Uplinks has been a channel member for 43 months at the Doomantite level. Thank you, Aurora Uplinks. Says, I regret not being able to join Lucasfilm as a writer-producer years ago. Who knows? Maybe I could have given help for a different outcome for the series. I hear you, Aurora Uplinks. Listen, I've heard your ideas, and they're a lot better than shit coming out of the Lucasfilm story group. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better. Fuck of a lot better. Aurora Uplinks, I salute you, my friend. Angry Yeti TV with a $2 super chat and a $5 super chat. Thank you, Angry Yeti TV. He says, if I had full control, I could fix Star Wars in a day. You mean like by firing everybody? Probably. Angry Yeti TV, 100% better right off the bat by the end of the working day. Yeah. And Angry Yeti TV also says, well done, Gary. As the one who requested it, I can confidently say that my grandfather would have laughed at the Baldwin jokes.
Those were pretty good.
They were. I was just waiting for a John Landis helicopter joke to be squeezed in there somewhere. Like,
hey man, there's no helicopters in the West, but there are live ammunition according to Alec Baldwin.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the helicopter, maybe it was his favorite movie, and the violence and fisticuffs, scarred it at an early age. I don't know.
I'll have to tell you guys about the angry Baldwin phone call voicemail that I got back in 2008. Apparently they all do it, but one of the Baldwin brothers called me up and chewed me out for a solid 8 minutes.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, he was really whacked out too. Probably, coke or something like that. But yeah, it was hilarious. I'll tell you about it another time.
Okay, well,
Wow.
I want to hear it.
sounds
Yeah.
good. I guess you didn't save it, sadly.
Wow.
Oh, it's somewhere on one of my old phones, I'm sure. I'll dig it up.
Oh God, that would be funny. I'd love to know which one it was. Well, tell me later
Yeah.
if you remember. I mean, now they.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know the whole thing. Yeah.
All right, dude. We got to hear that.
Mhm.
SP4H. It's been a wrench of mine, an arch villain for 59 months now. Thank you, SP4H. And he says, possible movies we love suggestion. Blake Edwards, SOB, 1981. I've never seen it.
I've never heard of it.
No.
SOB, yeah. I think isn't that the one where Julie Andrews gets topless?
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen that one either.
I don't think I've seen it. Supposedly funny. I like Blake Edwards. He's pretty funny. Anyway, hail to you, SP4H. We will take it under advisement, my friend. It's not one that we're all familiar with, but remind me. I'll take a look at it. I could use a good laugh these days. SP48 says correct. So I guess maybe he likes
Yep.
Mary
Look at it. There
Poppins
they are.
topless.
There's Julie Andrews, and there's her boobies. Look at
Mary's
that.
popping on
Yep.
that one, huh? Oh, and Jack White with a $10 super chat and a $2 super chat. Hail to you, Jack White. He says, Harvey, you have left me no choice. I've had to drain your bank account. Your balance is now at zero. But on a positive note, you won't have to worry about any more child support suits. Yeah, right. What are you, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? Yeah. Maybe you got somebody else's account named Harvey Cthulhu, but I'm looking at my balance right here, dude. It seems perfectly fine. Perfectly fine to me. I don't know what to tell you. Oh dear, Jack White. I don't know. This antipathy, it's getting very embarrassing. And Jack White with a $2 super chat says, Miyazaki movies we love segments when? Well, I know we've got the next 2 weeks set. So maybe 3 weeks from now, I could see trying to do Porco Rosso because I think it's a great fucking. You love that movie, Heather?
Yeah, Porco Rosso would be great.
It is so good. It's one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's so damn good. I love it. I would recommend we do that one in 3 weeks. The Dead Man with a $5 super chat. Thank you. The Dead Man says, I watched Regarding Henry today for the first time, written by Jar Jar Abrams. It was a decent movie. Does this mean that Jar Jar chooses to be a hack? I couldn't even take a guess. You know, I don't know. I mean, the guy for a while was doing Alias, right? And Alias was well regarded before it went down the toilet. And same thing with Felicity, right? Felicity was a popular show, and it basically went down the toilet. Although it wasn't his fault that she cut her hair. Felicity cut her hair, and then all of a sudden everybody was pissed off. I don't know.
Didn't one of his first movies, wasn't it an interesting sci-fi movie?
I don't remember.
I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember that. That's a good question.
Regarding Henry was good. Yeah.
I never saw it.
That's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Harrison Ford. Yeah.
I'll be damned. Is it got? Nah, never mind. I don't know anything about it. I've never seen it.
Are you thinking of Super 8?
Yeah, Super 8 is what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, Super 8 I heard was a piece of shit. Went nowhere. Like was a Spielberg clone, and it just stumbled badly. I never saw it.
All the emotion, none of the story.
Yeah. And Jack White with he is a super executive producer tonight, folks. Pay him a lot of respect. Jack White with two $10 super chats and a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack. Jack White says, sad history of humanity, Heather. There are no native people, really. All modern countries have been colonized in some way, Lord, before any of the civilizations we have today, which is absolutely true. You know, I hear somebody like bitching about how their land got taken, and I think sore losers. You know, sore losers.
Well, they weren't ruthless enough to defend it.
Yeah, that's right. They, I don't know. That's just me. Jack White also says, I meant long before, and it's Mike's birthday tomorrow. We should throw him an Alf-themed party. And don't forget to look up the other female characters I suggested earlier and give you thoughts. Thank you, Jack. I will not forget. I will definitely pursue that. And I'll drop you a line about how I'm liking the Picking Up Girls in a Dungeon series. It's pretty funny. And Jack White with a $5 super chat says, Gary, to quote Haro from Gundam, sucks to be you, sucks to be you. Why? What did Gary do? I don't know. I think he's getting you confused with Harvey or something. All right. Well, thank you, Jack White. Appreciate it, my friend. Gary Ambrosia, please go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Thank you for being with us tonight. We had a good amount of people here tonight, which is great.
We sure did, dude.
I love seeing that because that means that all the damn work I put in the show is finally it's being seen, and that's what's important. So I love you guys very much. Stay angry. Hail to the chat. Hail to the wrenches. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you very much, Gary Ambrosia. We have 1,558 likes tonight.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
not
I'd like to
bad.
think
go.
that at least 3 of those are mine.
100%. I have no doubt about it. And this is a little sad. I mean, Rob Altus with a $5 super chat is pointing out, and I just saw this actually shortly before we started. He said, DC, did you mention Robert Orsi passed away? He was at least a Star Trek fan, also gone too young. He was one of the writers on the original, Star Trek Jar Jar Abrams movie from, I think, 2009, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Kurtzman essentially screwed him, stabbed him in the back and got him taken off the subsequent Star Trek projects. And he was the one that knew Star Trek. So, yeah, the die was cast. Orsi was kind of a dick to fans who criticized him, but he was a Star Trek fan, and I'm sorry to hear that he's gone. Rob Wright, hail to you. Go ahead and plug your channel, my friend.
Well, I do have my own YouTube channel, Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. And this past weekend, Heather L. and I did another episode of Band of Brothers. We did episode 4, and actually it's taken off. It's an hour long, but it's already got like 1,300 views, which is pretty big for my channel. So, folks, if you like Band of Brothers, check it out. I mean, Heather did a great job of bringing historical facts into our discussion, and we just had a great time talking about the episode. And we've got another episode coming up in a couple of weeks. And then in about 3 weeks' time, in the middle of March, my panel will get together and we're going to do a wrap up of 80s music. So each member of the panel created their own top 40 songs from the 1980s with the following rules. They had to get at least one song out of the top 40 from each year, and then the other 30 can come from any of the 100 songs from any year of the 80s. So we're going to share our favorite songs from the 80s, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll look forward to both of those two things come up on my channel. Friday night Frolics, Doomcock, right here. His channel, 7:30. We have a lot of fun. It's a great way to start your weekend. Doomcock sings some amazing songs. Harvey tells some awful jokes. We might get a little bit of Larry Dracula. Who knows? But we have a lot of fun in the chat. And the other great thing about this community is in those chats, we really support each other. There are a lot of people that are hurting or going through some things, and they get a chance to really talk about what's going on in their lives. And we get to love on them, make them laugh, make them feel better. And, that's what it's all about. That's what this wonderful community is that Doomcock created. So join us 7:30 Central Time on Friday Night Frolics.
Thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate that, brother. And nice hat. Sean, go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Yeah, to echo Rob's comment there. Yeah, I call Friday. I call that my Friday family. I've gotten to know so many people just through here, and it's really a blessing. So join us there. It's a really good time. DC, thank you for hosting the show and letting me come in and play. And I appreciate everybody there. If anyone's interested, I do have a model channel called the Sci-Fi Model Guy. And this Sunday coming up, I'm going to be having a cool interview with R.M. Briggs talking about her creative process in writing and seeing how that intermixes with creating physical stuff. So, and last week we had Mark D with a C, and that was a great time, and just 2 great guests in a row, and it's a fun time. So, cheers to everyone. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Nick of Echo Base Network, no longer a Star Wars channel. Please plug away.
Yeah, you guys can find us me and Coach over on our channel, Echo Base Network. Weekly live stream every Thursday night, which is tomorrow, 7 o'clock Central Time. And then we do EBN Cast, which is like a 1-hour weekly news roundup where we have special guests on from time to time. Every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time. Tomorrow night, me and Coach will be hitting more on this KK stuff and Andor Season 2 trailer, along with several other things non-Star Wars related that we'll touch base on. So, yeah, come over, say hey, hang out.
Thank you, my friend.
And don't forget, everybody, if you guys follow Mexican Iron Man on Twitter, wish him a happy birthday tomorrow.
Amen. Thank you very much for that. Heather L., please go ahead and say goodnight and anything else you'd like to say.
Yeah, good night, all. Still not a YouTuber, but it's always a great time hanging out here, whether it's just in the chat or on the stream. So thank you, Doomcock, again for inviting me as always, and all you guys on the panel and in the chat. Thanks for being so awesome. And yeah, see you all on Friday.
And I hope soon to talk to you about an exciting business opportunity that I have lined up for you.
Well, you have to compete with your little friend that you sent me over the holidays because he's made a pretty lucrative offer, and
What?
it's going to be tough to beat it, Harvey. I don't know.
Fucking son of a bitch! Hey!
This is what happens when you
You're
send
supposed
a
to be my
representative.
spy!
Yeah, you send a representative and they turn on you.
You bitch! All right. No, I'm just shutting. Oh, goddamn. All right. I'm sorry to hear that. Andy Masterson, go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Well, on Twitter, there's this page called Tales of Xanadu.
Yes.
A new comic strip just dropped yesterday with the story of this prostitute who gives birth to this egg with tentacles, and I'm wondering if it's somehow related.
This bullshit. Better not be. Oh.
So check out Tales of Xanadu on X and let me know what you think, because it's been a lot of fun so far, and more episodes are coming forthright after this. So I'll have a moment of silence for Michelle Trachtenberg, and hopefully Ariana Grande doesn't join her soon if she doesn't eat a hamburger, because she's like looking like
Yeah, what is going on with her?
Yeah. Her chest looks like Gandhi's back.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Wow.
However, it's sort of like the xylophone effect. You can.
I know. It's like looking one of the Badoon from Silver Surfer, Andy.
That's true. That's true. And my channel, Laboratory of Mayhem, will be having a new review this weekend because I will be receiving my Jack Sparrow figure from Hot Toys.
Oh,
I'll be
cool.
doing a review over that, which is fabulous looking. This thing is amazing. So I'm looking forward to getting that on Friday, and I will check in on the channel and put up a video for it.
That sounds fantastic, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Cheers to you, Andy Masterson. And we got just a couple more super chats came in. Stark of Iron with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Stark of Iron. Says, I submit my Alf to host the birthday party. Well, I'm sure that Mexican Iron Man would steer wide and clear of that, but you're welcome to give it a shot, man. You'd have to surprise him, though. He's not going to willingly go to a party with an Alf in it.
It's
Jack
a great
White.
Alf impression, too. It's really good.
Yeah. It is. And I'm sure it sends chills down Mike's spine. Jack White with a $10 super chat says, if you're enjoying Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, you should also check out Wisteria Wand and Sword, because the creator of It's Wrong to Pick Up Girls also created Wisteria Wand and Sword. Thanks for that, man. It is good shit. I really am enjoying it. And Jack White with a $5 super chat says, just like how Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter were created by the same guy, and check those out when you get a chance. Also check out Date Alive, he says. Thank you, Supreme Executive Producer Jack White. We appreciate you, my friend, and I appreciate everyone in the chat. Hope everyone had a great time. Hope to see you on Friday for Friday Night Frolics. And there's a Larry Dracula right there. And fuck that other shit. Yeah, there's Larry Dracula himself, the Jewish vampire. All right. Thank you, folks. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry and hope to see you Friday. Good night, everyone.